No politics here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the No Politic Here podcast. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Isaac Zale of the Overzealots channel. Isaac, how are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm especially excited because now we are joined by yet another guest, Yousef AbdulHusain. So, Yousef, how are you doing?
What's up? I'm doing amazingly, guys. Thank you so much for inviting me onto this podcast. I have to fangirl just a little bit, okay? Isaac, Mr. Overzealots himself. I've been watching your channel over the past year and have loved, consumed, and enjoyed every second of the videos you have made. It brings such a tear to my eye and glows my heart up so much. I love the stuff that you do. And I just want to say, okay, listen, I just was, randomly going through YouTube. I'm seeing that, the Overzealous guy, he's got a podcast. I got to check this out. I click on it. I'm watching, you're talking to the Indie Nile guy, which I love his content so much. And I'm just listening. And all of a sudden, my name is said. And I'm like, whoa, like I'm out of body experience, guys. Like my heart drops and I'm like, yo, wait a second. I pause. I'm like, are they talking about me? And I can't believe it. Chris is like over here, like the Kuwaiti guy. And
I knew right away when he said that. Because, bro, your videos have been recommended to me as well. And I've been watching them. I've been enjoying them. I'm surprised and pleasantly surprised at how quickly your channel is growing, bro. You really deserve it. It's great content.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's all because of the fans. I'll get 5 views if people weren't hungry for this type of content. So it's all in thanks to them.
But you do it well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, hey, I try my best. I got to put 100% out there. You know what I mean? But yeah, like you saying that was awesome and it just felt really good. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Again, appreciate you so much for asking me to come be on here.
Do you want to start by introducing what it is you do for anyone who doesn't know? I'm sure people who are familiar with our channels will quite possibly know, but if you want to just give a brief breakdown of what it is that you sort of do and seek to do with your content.
Absolutely. So I am a Kuwaiti, born and raised in Kuwait, and I have insights and knowledge and just having a degree in mass communications, have always loved movies so much. I've always explored how they've affected us, what they tell us, how it changes our lives, and how inspirational it can be. So just like not even 6 months ago, I'm going through some movies and I see Borat pop up. And I'm like, you know what? I love that movie. When I was in college, I laughed so hard. I got to show this to my wife. She's my then girlfriend. We recently got married.
Congratulations.
I'm elated. Thank you so much. I'm just so happy. Okay, so we put it on. I'm looking over at her in 10 minutes. I'm like kind of smirking. I look over at her and she's not laughing. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? She's not laughing. And we keep watching. I'm not laughing. 20 minutes in, I turn the movie off. I say to myself, what the heck? Why do people find this so funny? How did this win so many awards? It was highly influential. Came out in 2006, just 4 years after the Iraq War. So I'm saying, okay, I know why it's not funny, but how can I explain this to people? So I write up an entire script about this Borat movie and then I shelf it. I'm like, you know what? I want to tell people about it, but I don't know if this is the first video I should do. Okay. A couple months later, we watch Aladdin. She's laughing. Okay. She's enjoying it, but I'm not laughing.
Can I ask?
I remember.
Are you both?
Yeah.
Are you both Kuwaiti?
No. I'm Kuwaiti and she's American.
Okay, gotcha.
So she's watching it. She's enjoying it. I'm watching it. I'm full of nostalgia, but I'm rolling my eyes like my dad used to. Okay. When I was younger, I loved Aladdin. It was recently came out in 92, right? I was young, 5 years old. I would watch it. I remember my dad, he would just roll his eyes. He would change the channel. He wouldn't want to watch it. And I'm watching it and I'm realizing, oh my Lord, I've become my dad. It's the one of the many thousands of things that are happening. But why? Why do I dislike it so much? What is happening from my experiences and from my education? And then I remember Adur Said, the writer of Orientalism. We studied that in college. We read that book. And I go to it and I'm thinking about it. And I'm watching this and I'm like, oh my goodness, Aladdin 92 is literally the amalgamation of every Orientalist negative stereotype imaginable in the form of a cartoon for kids. And it blew my mind to the point where I said, I have to say something. I have to do something. You know, you read about these people, they want to start YouTube channels to make money, to do this, do that. I wanted to get it out there. No one's like, there's a couple of videos out there talking about it, but not with the depth or knowledge that I knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
so, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, it seems like it's always, we let it slide societally. We let it slide whenever like the victim or the brunt of these jokes, these kind of racist jokes and tropes are Arabs, which is something that, I mean, thankfully we don't let slide when it comes to other groups, but it's completely inappropriate that there's this one group that is fair game in the West when it comes to the media, and that targeting of Arabs and Arab culture and Islam in general, this Orientalist trope that is concocted in Western media, also tends to correspond with the military aims of the empire as well, which is also, you know, there's that layer of nefarious atmosphere that surrounds it, because we're allowing this propaganda to manufacture the consent when we go over to the Middle East or to the Swana region and destabilize it, bomb it, prop up who we want to prop up, and ultimately ruin the lives of millions of people. So it's important to, you know, do what you're doing.
100%. We can dive deeper into that. Like we can go so deep into this topic. Okay, so I make the Aladdin video. I spent like a month writing the script, researching. I upload it, barely any views. Barely. If you want to know why, like initially the first video was deep diving into Orientalism, completely explaining as if you've never watched or don't know anything about this, like a full deep dive. All right. A week later, I upload it, but I put just the Aladdin part. I rephrase it to Arab. My expertise, who I am, explains everything offensive in Aladdin 9.2. Every single thing, boom, explodes. I think it's at 500,000 views, almost at 500,000 views right now. And I'm like, what the? People want to hear about this. I just have to bring it into the realm of when they want to hear it. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about this a lot. It wasn't like pre-planned before, but I realized that there are so many amazing creators out there on YouTube, like you, Overzealots, like Noah. Hassan Piker talks about it on his live streams, Indian Isle, GDF, love that YouTube channel. All these amazing creators, they're talking about it in the perspective of the politics. People are ready to hear about the politics. They're interested about the politics. They're interested about this world. And that's where they want to come from. I'm coming at it, I realize, from an angle of how does all of this stuff that's happening in Palestine, how this stuff is happening in the United States gets into our media? And what does that propaganda look in terms of propaganda in movies? Okay, so people are coming to my channels because they love these movies, this entertainment, and they want me to deconstruct what is happening. Okay, so I realize that, and I make another video. People are begging me, hey, I want to see this video. I want to see the new Aladdin, live action Aladdin. That one has more views than the Aladdin 92. And I'm like, I'm onto something. Now is the time to bring out the Borat video. And I watched the Borat video, and I'm just absolutely sickened when I really, really think about this. It's exactly like what you said. People are just okay with this. I realize it's a British Israeli guy in brown face,
so
playing
crazy.
Out dude, yeah, this is really.
When you say it like that, it's so crazy, dude.
British Israel. Okay, let me pitch you a movie, buddy. Let me give you a movie. All right, I'm gonna dress up as a yeshiva Jew, and I'm gonna play out as an Arab. I'm gonna play out every single stereotype about yeshiva Jews. Do you think in any maybe I'd be assassinated before it came out? Okay, but a British Israeli comedian puts on brown face, plays every single stereotype known to mankind about Muslims, Arabs, foreigners. He dresses it up as, oh, I'm a European person, Kazakhstan, because people don't even know what Kazakhstan is. Like, they would just think, oh, it's a Muslim country, but he can get away with it. Oh, I can say a Polish yek shemesh. I can say funny catch lines, sexy time, you know? and gets away with it. And I'm watching this and I'm like, oh my Lord, why is nobody talking about this? Okay.
Also,
and
Chris mentioned this last time we brought this up. Chris, isn't there like some crazy Zionist guy who was kind of his left-hand man or right-hand man while he was
on Borat
making...
too? Yeah, I don't know if you know about this, but Yousef, but there's a guy called
Kern?
Lee Kern. Yeah, he's like at the start of the Gaza genocide at the beginning, just after October the 7th. He was posting non-stop some of the worst stuff you could imagine. Like, his Twitter was actually regularly limited, even by Elon Musk's Twitter, because of how racist some of the stuff he was posting. He's actually now moved to Israel. Anyone can go check out the stuff he's saying. He's a really horrible guy. He was a writer on Borat too. He's like a comedic writer. And like Sacha Baron Cohen is definitely a Zionist, but like Lee Kern, there are levels to it. Like Lee Kern is like Ben Gvir style racism towards Palestinians. Anyone can look into this. Like, it's crazy. And of course, you know, you got to think Sacha Baron Cohen thought that was a funny guy to write a character who's like just Arab, basically. Although he's from Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
It's weird that he can kind of be in such close proximity with, like what you're telling me, a virulent anti-Palestinian racist, and then still kind of have this veneer of, oh, I'm the enlightened liberal guy, and these are just jokes, guys. Don't take him serious. But then you look at the team,
It's just a joke.
and there's like a bloodthirsty Zionist. I know I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but just to relate this with that Curb Your Enthusiasm episode that we touched on in a bonus episode, the Palestinian chicken one, I understand that the point of that episode was to kind of both sides it and make, you know, poke fun at like right-wing Zionists and also Palestinians. But that argument kind of falls flat when you look at who Larry David interpersonally interacts with and who he keeps company with. He's friends with Jerry Seinfeld, who is a virulent racist Zionist. He also, you know that clip of that lady, Mayim Bialik, that went viral like a few days ago, where she's like, oh, someone came up to me with a shirt that said Zionism is racism, and she acted like it was like the worst anti-Semitic thing that ever happened to her. She's a character in Curb Your Enthusiasm too. She's Jodie Funkhauser. So this guy, interpersonally, surrounds himself with Zionists, and then he has the gall to make this cutting edge, this critique of, you know, both sides of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Brother, you're swimming in right-wing Zionists. This falls flat when you look at who created this conversation.
Yeah. And to add to that, who's the director of like half of Curb Your Enthusiasm episodes? Larry Charles. Who directed Borat and the Dictator? Larry Charles. Same director.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did.
Same dude. Yeah, same director. I don't know if he directed specifically the Palestinian episode, but he directed a lot of Curb Your Enthusiasm. And that guy was a gigantic Zionist. And Religiouslists with Bill Maher. Do you know that movie?
Yeah.
Also directed by Larry Charles.
No way.
Have you ever heard of this movie? Yeah, dude, it's the same director. It's all connected.
Wow. I mean, it is funny because
Religiouslists.
Like, before we started, we all kind of said like, yeah, we all love Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like it's a funny show. It's a very funny show.
Yes.
But it's just like, I think completely inappropriate for a guy like this to be coming out here saying, you know, this is my both sides of the Palestinian issue.
Yeah. And but this movie, Religious by Bill Maher, he came out with in the mid 2000s, and he's, I'm an atheist. I'm gonna dunk on all the religions, and he dunks on Muslims and he dunks on Christians. When he gets to the Jews, he attacks this very specific small minority of Jews that have really strict religious practices. Not all of Jews or all of Judaism. It's like so stupid. It's like, dude, seriously?
That's just Reddit atheism, bro. That's like just the entirety of Reddit atheism.
It's also,
I'm a based anti-religious guy, but I only attack Islam.
Well, it's also like
dude, this guy's crazy, man. He's super, like, Bill Maher is super, like, I don't even understand where it comes from, okay? Oh, I'm an atheist. Oh, it's not, but the God promised the land to these Jews, and I believe that till the day I die. Shut up, Bill Maher. Shut the hell up, okay? I'm over you. I'm over this crap.
I think one of his responses to Chaperone was to say, like, there's a little book that tells you the history of Palestine. It's called the Bible. And, you know, like being in a film like that. It may not have been in response to Chaperone, but he definitely did do something along those lines.
He invoked the Bible.
Yes, he did invoke the Bible, What? Yes. He invoked the Bible to justify what Israel is up to. I'm sure that was him. But like,
Wow.
there was something that I had to. There was something that I really wanted to say. Oh, and it's just slipped my mind. No,
Put a pin in it.
Yeah. I'll try and remember.
Okay, so I do. Please remember. I want to hear it from you, Chris. So we got. Okay, so I do the video on Borat, and then I researched Sacha Baron Cohen. Okay, he went to school for Jewish Semitic studies. He went and he lived in a kibbutz after college. And everyone said that he was super Zionist. And he's part of this comedy group that all do jokes and comedies about defending Zionism and putting down Muslims. What's one of his first characters? Ali G. Ali G in the house. Booyakasha. Okay, you know this guy? One of my friends in middle school loved this guy. He loved the movie, okay? And I look at it and I'm like, this guy is literally making fun of Muslim chav culture. Now, there's some people who would debate me. They're saying, no, it's not about Muslims. But he's specifically making fun of a British culture that kind of, the Muslims assimilated this black culture and they were called these chavs, these types of people, okay? He's in brown face there. His name is Ali G, dude. Ali. He's a Muslim character.
Dude, I never even put that together. Ali. Yeah, I never even put that together.
Yeah, he's playing an Arab, and then he does Borat. He's playing the foreigner, but it's all Arab Muslim coded. And then he goes full tilt. He's like, all right, 2012, Gaddafi is going down. Now's my chance. I can bring this out. Like, he comes out with a movie before they took down Gaddafi, but it was to help manufacture consent. Like, oh, this is okay to do this. Then he actually plays.
You talking about The Dictator?
Yeah, Dictator.
What year did that come out?
2010, 2011, and then 2012 is when Gaddafi, if that's correct.
Gaddafi fell 2011.
Yeah,
2011.
Gaddafi falls 2011. Yeah.
Okay, so it was right around there.
Yeah.
He's helping to manufacture consent about this stuff, and he's literally playing in Arab this time. This is the one that is kind of like the worst out of all of his movies. Like, there is some, like, I understand the argument that he's smart, okay, that he's very tricky. So one could say smart, one could say tricky in the way that he can delve out this information, get away with it. But then the Dictator, he's just like, nope, just color me brown. We have Ben Kingsley, who is Indian, but they colored him brown. In the video I show, he's pale white in his arm, and on his face is brown. They put all this makeup on him. Now he's going full tilt. Dude, full tilt. I'm going to play out every lie made up, every single thing. 99, I deep dive into the movie. 99% of the stuff is Zionist propaganda and lies about Iran, about Arabs, about Gaddafi, about other dictators. And I'm like, how is this guy getting away with all of this stuff? Because if you say it's comedy, you can say and do whatever you want, habibi. Shino hada. Like, what is this? What is this? Okay. I do this and all my videos are popping up. I'm going back to, reading about Orientalism. And if you guys want me to talk about how deep does this go, okay? How far does because I am trying to understand where all of this is coming from. I always look for the origin, right? I want to see what's the origin. How far can I go back? Where does this all come from? And you read about Orientalism. You read about, if you want me to talk about historical stuff or stay more modern, just let me know. What do you want? You want me to talk about modern?
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Where does this... Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly say, I don't know if either of you remember this, but about 3 years ago, Sacha Baron Cohen was having meetings with government officials, I believe. And he was saying that TikTok had created the biggest anti-Semitic movement since the Nazis, basically in reference to the fact that people were getting information, not really about the anti-Semitism on the platform, but actually much more that people were getting news related to Palestine from the platform. And so it was no longer filtered through mainstream media, guaranteed. And so he actually was one of the people advocating for TikTok to change, and he has the audacity to behave like that when, he's and saying that there's this movement that's as dangerous as the Nazis when, thousands of Palestinians had already been killed at that point, in a large part because of this kind of, Orientalist, racist propaganda that, exoticizes Arabs.
Yeah, this guy is hilarious. There's some people who comment on my videos. They're like, "Oh, but Sacha Baron Cohen, he's donated to Syrians. He's donated to Palestinians." Okay, thanks. 1% he's given to the Arabs. 99% of his career is making them out to be the mortal enemy of all mankind.
Profiting from
Let's
it.
just slaughter them, profiting off of it. Let's kill them. They're worthless. Those Arabs, the stinky, dirty, awful Arabs.
Did I think it was your video on Sacha Baron Cohen. Wasn't there something to do with during the filming of Bruno, he got attacked by, I think, like Orthodox Jews, and then he left that out while he was trying to bait Palestinians into doing the same thing so that he could, I guess, paint them as violent? Is that real? Am I making this up?
Oh, yes, 100%. Okay, let me tell you about this. So in the movie Borat, there is a scene where he dresses up as kind of like this Orthodox Jew. So the character Bruno is a extravagant gay Austrian fashion designer. Okay. So he goes to Jerusalem. He makes up this outfit that kind of looks like Orthodox Jew clothing, but it's more flamboyant, like a lot more skin is showing. And in the movie, okay, they film it. He goes through and he gets chased by a bunch of Orthodox Jewish people. Okay. That is in the movie. Now, what's not in the movie that they cut out is he did the same exact stunt in another area. And there were some yeshiva Jews, a different, more strict sect of Judaism, and they physically assault him. They took him to the ground, punching the living crap out of him. And he has said, by the way, there were multiple news articles about this because I've read about this throughout the years. And when I was making the video, I could not find one. I couldn't find the news articles anywhere. I don't know what happened to them. He was beaten to the point where he thought he was going to die. He literally says in a quote, "It's the closest I've ever been to death in his life." And it was perpetrated by this specific sect of Jews who are super, super conservative. He cuts it out of the movie. They filmed it, cuts it out of the movie. Okay. I couldn't find any news articles about it. And I found this, the ex-CIA, the whistleblower guy, John Kiriakou. Kiriakou. I can never say his name right. Okay, anyways.
It's a tricky one.
He's in a podcast and he tells the story that Sacha Baron Cohen actually called him to try to hire him to come and help him out with doing all this. And then Sacha told him the next day after it happened. And he tells this story. And he tells another story too. What's even more nefarious about this, about the Bruno character. He actually went and filmed. He met ex-Hamas terrorists, okay? He went and met them, and he showed them naked photos or photos where he's doing gay sexual acts with people because he wanted to film them overreacting or being, crazy or hostile towards him.
Borat did this? He went to...
This is Bruno. This is still Bruno. Yes.
He went to,
So he showed... He met up with ex-Hamas terrorists.
No, you can call them members. You don't. The TOS is not going to. Don't
members.
worry. We're good.
Okay. Members, and he shows them these photos. It's because I'm telling the story based on what somebody else told me. So I'm using that same lingo. Okay, so he shows them the photos, and these guys don't even react. They filmed it. Nothing happens. They don't react. They can't even put it in the movie. That's how far he was going. And then also in the movie, I don't know if you saw Bruno, but he also has this Palestinian Christian human. He's part of an organization that helps out people in that area, and he changes the subtitles to say, "Oh, I'm a terrorist. I'm a Muslim terrorist." The guy sued and he won. By the way, Sacha Baron Cohen has been sued many, many times. Nobody ever wins. That guy actually won.
He was the shopkeeper, lawsuit. Right? He was the shopkeeper that Sacha Baron Cohen branded as part of Fatah's armed wing when he was just like some guy who worked. I think he did like charitable work for nonprofits or something, and he was a Christian dude. Exactly. Not that that matters if he wasn't a Christian dude, but it was just a lie.
Doesn't even matter. It's just hilarious. Yeah, that's how far that he will go. That's how far Sacha Baron Cohen. I can't believe he's built this whole career. I haven't even seen Borat 2. Like, I don't even want to watch it.
It's not good.
I heard
like,
about
it's not funny.
Good. I heard that there's this scene with Rudolph Giuliani. Like,
that is a crazy scene.
Yeah,
to be honest, that is a crazy scene. I think I don't remember it in full, but I think it involves like he's like taking off his pants with like some young girl, and it's quite weird that they really got that on camera, I will say.
Yeah, he's kind of like brought into this bedroom by this young girl. I think she openly says that she's like underage. I think that's like the whole point, right? And then he's laying on the bed and he kind of like rearranges his junk. I don't know if he unzips his pants, but it's definitely like, if you're a politician and you're in like this room with this young girl, definitely inappropriate body language at the very least. I don't know what the fuck bro thought he was doing, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. And like, isn't he, how old is this guy? This guy, he's ready
Must
to
be
go
80s.
like that? How's he getting bricked up like that on the fly? Don't you need like some Blue Chew or something? How you doing that? That's crazy. Crazy.
But something you mentioned is you wanted to talk a bit about the history, which I'm sure people would enjoy, like the history of kind of like Orientalism.
Yes. Okay. So to connect it all, so I make these videos, and then I'm looking. Okay, these movies, they're obviously, propaganda, fake satire to prop up Zionism. Okay, so I'm like, it can't be this bad. It can't be that bad. But then I remember back to the college days, we were reading about Orientalism. We're reading about real bad Arabs. Okay, there's a book that came out in 2006 by Dr. Jack Shaheen. He went through 1,000 movies to see how Arabs are portrayed. 6 out of the 1,000, 6 have neutral or semi-positive portrayals out of 1,000. It blew my mind. Yeah. This is how bad it is. This is really, really how bad it is. This is how far it goes, how deep it is. Okay. So I'm like, I can't believe this. Okay, we have this in a book. Let me start making videos actually showing the video clips. Okay. And I'm going and researching, finding these movies, and it's just over and over and over and over again, all of these same stereotypes, all these Orientalism stereotypes. Okay. So I'm saying I'm going to share this with the world, and I'm going to go to the origin of it, based off my history, being an Arab, knowing what I know, because I've seen a lot of these movies growing up, and I just roll my eyes. Oh, it's just Arabs. Oh, it's just Arabs. But why is it like this? Why is it like this? Okay. So, Chris, you asked about the origins of all this. This is a 2,000-3,000 year long battle between the righteous and the bad. All right. Where did this Orientalism, which is the classification of the Arabs or anyone to the east, of being exotic or barbaric or having the wrong religion or being dirty, all right? But it's all a fantasy. It is all made up. None of these align with actual Arabs or Muslims or anyone to the east, okay? Now, the reason why this all started, some say it goes all the way back to Alexander the Great. He wanted to come down. As you know, he came and invaded the Arabian lands, and he needed justification. So he starts to have a hero. Okay, you have to have the bad guy. He starts saying all these negative things about the Arabs. We can come and attack them, and I'm going to rule over all these places. And his lineage is throughout the Arab world. Okay, so in Kuwait, where I'm from, there's a little island called Felice. And on there is Greek ruins and artifacts and archaeology from Alexander the Great. It has survived because such a tiny little island has barely been touched. He had to create an enemy of the Arabs. This is like proto-Orientalism. What's the first sign of it? There was no religiousness caught up in it. It was literally just, we want to go and we want to take over those lands. But remember that, because it's going to come back. The real signs of historic Orientalism was around the Crusades time. The Christians, they did not like that the Arabs were in control of the Holy Land based off of the books, okay, the Abrahamic religion books. So what did they do? They created an enemy of Islam. This is where the real stuff starts appearing. These people are backwards. These people are awful. These people are heretics. And it's Orientalism because that fantasy element, okay? You had the fantasy element. They didn't even know what Islam was. You go back and you read what the popes were saying. You go back and read what all the scholars were saying. They literally thought, okay, I'm not even kidding, that Islam was an offshoot of Christianity, that Muhammad was a Christian scholar who defected from Christianity to start his own sect of Christianity called Islam. They literally thought that for hundreds of years, not until the 1600s when they actually started coming into the lands and trying to colonize the areas. They use this as justification for the Crusades, okay? And I hear this rhetoric all the time from these white nationalists, from these crusader people. Oh, it's because the Muslims were coming in and invading and attacking. It has nothing to do with it, okay? The Crusades they wanted the Holy Lands back. They couldn't stand that the Muslims and the Arabs, they had control of this area. They come in, they're successful on the first crusade. All the rest of the crusades were horrendous failures and awful. But that rhetoric, those lies that they were telling about the Muslims and Arabs, they never faded away. They got enacted into writing. They got enacted into the Christian rulers. I just recently did a video about Dante's Inferno, Dante Alighieri. So he makes this whole book, and I did a video about it, and it's the same thing. Dante thought the same stuff in the 12th or in the 13th century. He thought that Muhammad was a Christian. Not only did he put Muhammad in hell, he also put Ali, who was seen as the starter of the Shi'i sect of Islam. And I was telling this story about how I discovered this when I was 16 years old in high school in Kuwait. And my family is the Shi'i. So it's like seeing both Muhammad and Ali in hell, like completely like destroyed my brain. You know, being 15, 16 year old, growing up in an Islamic country, the Prophet is revered. Like you don't even think about Prophet Muhammad in a bad way. And then here I'm reading about it. They put him in hell. It's like, what the hell? And then you read about this and what they were thinking. And sometimes when you read, it kept going on to the 1900s, their fantasy version of what Islam was. Yeah. Sometimes you can read in historic writings, the Mohammedans. Maybe you've read this before.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why they wrote it like that is because they thought it was like Christianity, Christ. Oh, they think Muhammad is the savior. So they're the Mohammedans. They follow Muhammad. They could only think about it in the realm of being similar to Christianity. And you even read about these writings in the founding fathers wrote like this and said, oh, the Mohammedans. Like this is how dumb or how ignorant they were about Islam and Arabs. And it continues on to this day, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, it hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed. People have dropped the Mohammedan thing because they know better now, but it went as far as the early 20th century. People were still saying that. Okay, so all this stuff from the Crusades, it goes on for 400 or 500 years. And then you have the doctrine of discovery appears. Oh, now the Pope, now all the Christian churches, they say, it is our divine right. God gave you this right to go and invade and take over these lands, and you got to save them or you got to kill them. Either way, it's better for them. And this is when you see colonialism start happening, right? In the 16th, 17th century. Okay? So this is happening. This is when the Edward Said's Orientalism comes into play. All right, okay? These people are backwards. They're awful. Their ways are horrible. They veil their women. Look how backwards they are. Look how dirty they are. They come and they invade and they attack and they take over a lot of Arabian countries. They go to, some say a lot of it was to the United States, but it mostly affected the European countries. You had the Spanish Inquisition. You have the Christians coming down into the Arab lands, into India, colonizing. And it all is stemming from this religiousness, okay? Does it ring any bells, what is going on today with Zionism in Israel? Does it ring any bells? I mean, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed from all this stuff. They demonize all these people so they can come, take their resources, slaughter the people, change whoever they want to change so they can rule over them. It's about control, connected to mainly for tribalism, but it's about control of resources. And what is the ultimate resource? God's favor. I mean, it's happening to us right now. Everything can be justified because God said it was right.
Because for Said, for Orientalism, I actually wrote my dissertation about Orientalism, and so
awesome.
So Orientalism is also like, it's two different things. And technically, I'm an Orientalist, and so are you, Isaac, because you're someone who studies the Middle East. It's like a discipline of study. In my understanding, the person who he places the most significant or a hugely significant amount of weight on is Napoleon, because when Napoleon conquers Egypt, he brings with him a team of like architects, scientists, geologists, a huge amount of like people with him. And even after Napoleon is gone from France, these people stay and they kind of create like a discipline of knowing and studying the MENA region. And I remember at university, I knew a guy who was from Saudi Arabia, and he often spoke about why he didn't like Said. And I sometimes thought it was a bit reductive, but his opinion was because there were some Orientalists who really did actually want to know about the Middle East, North Africa region. However, the problem is that the term, I think, is much more associated with the sort of way of knowing to manage the Middle East, as, you know, like that's really what it is, of like knowing and managing and controlling our interactions with the Middle East, North Africa region. Because, you know, it's interesting as well how it's both static and there's this historical aspect that you've, talked about, and how many of these tropes, though, have like shifted, but still to mean the same thing. So I know that Victorian men actually used to go over to the Middle East because they viewed it as a place of sexual plenty. There were actually plenty of postcards that were created that were like kind of lewd images of people in the Middle East. And I know that now the funny thing is Europeans and Westerners tend to talk about Muslims as like sexually backwards, as really prudish. And it's really interesting how it still represents the same thing, but it's also not like a static concept. It's about like trying to tar and understand everyone in the Middle East in ways that were always wrong.
Dude, yes. And we can talk about the great progressive conservative shift that happened. Okay, so to jump onto what you were saying, Europe at the time was insanely conservative. Okay, this is 1600s, 1700s. Napoleon comes down to Egypt. He brings all these people. They research. They bring their writings back, and this is the beginning of the exoticization of the Arabian lands. The exotic women. Oh, they're different. The desert lands. It's mystical. All this BS. Okay. This starts happening. There were some legit Orientalists who came down and studied, but then in that way, there were a lot that completely fantasized it, never went to Arabia. I'm going to get to that. But in that whole wave of, Arabia, we have Galland come out with his translation of Arabian Nights, okay? This 1001 Arabian Nights with Scheherazade reading the story to the king, who he's marrying a different woman every night and he murders them, but she comes and she tells him a story and then he doesn't kill her. And then she does it again. And she does it again. She does it again. She does it again. Okay. It was Galland. It was a collection of stories that Galland put together. And then he worked with a storyteller to add a bunch more. One of them is Aladdin. He added in from the storyteller. It wasn't actually part of the original Arabian Nights. Okay. He brings it over 1709. Explosion. It was a massive hit, okay? Because it aligned with all this Orientalism and Arabia. Now we're learning about it. And it was amazingly popular in Europe, okay? Now, the culture in Europe at the time was extremely conservative, as I mentioned. But when you had some translators and Galland adding in information to extra exoticize it, to help sell the book more. So they would add in text about, their women are so dancing around sexually all the time. The people are so barbaric and they attack. They're different from us. That was the whole idea, okay? They added in a lot of junk that was never in the original Arabic texts, okay? I read a number of the original Arabic texts, and then you compare it. One of the worst ones was this guy called Burton. He would go on and on and on about these awful, about adding in information about slaves, adding in sex maneuvers, adding in a bunch of racism, adding in a bunch of anti-Semitism, which was huge in Europe at the time. They added it in because it aligned with what Europeans thought. Okay, anti-Semitism was gigantic, 1600s to the 1900s. Okay, it wasn't in the original Arab texts, but they wanted to add that in because people were like, "Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense." Okay, so Arabian Nights, it's a blessing and a curse. Okay, because it was hugely influential. All these European writers and people started. There was a number of them who did actually go to Arabia. But then there was a lot of them who never went to Arabia. They just base off of the writings or these Orientalists, and they create artwork. They create all these Orientalist paintings and stuff without ever setting foot in Arabia. They have no idea about the land or the area. Okay, now in Arabia at the time, it was way more progressive in our writings. Okay, there was writings in Arabic about sex, about the people, about death and killing, that Europeans were thought was crazy. And the Europeans could get away with selling books about this because, like, oh, look, it's the Arabs. They're the wild and progressive ones, and they're the crazy ones. Okay? And then only in the 1900s did the shift of the conservative and progressive, it shifted. Yeah. The Arabs became more conservative. The Europeans became more progressive. Mm-hmm. And the same stuff that they used to say about the Arabs, they flipped it. That, oh, look, these Arabs are so conservative and they're so backwards.
Yeah.
So that's what you were talking about. Okay, so we have all these things percolating, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, all this BS. And then where my expertise is coming in my YouTube channel is, how does this affect movies and entertainment? Mm-hmm. All of these things that they were talking about, the exotic stuff, the lavish parties, the crazy antics, it started appearing in movies, and it was hugely influential in 1920 cinema, where movies started appearing. This is when you have the Orientalist style, all the exotic elements appearing in the movies, and it continued on all the way up until 1970s. What happens in the 1970s? This is the thing about the Westerners that they can't. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, the Westerners want to be in control. The colonialists want to be in control of everything. So when you slight them even a little bit,
the oil embargo?
Yes, the oil embargo. So when you slight them even the slightest bit, they turn their back on you. They make you look horrible. Yeah. They make you look awful. Okay, why the oil embargo happens? None of the U.S., like, when you research this a lot, nobody ever mentions why it happened. They want to punish Israel.
Yeah.
They want to punish Israel.
My next video is about Yom Kippur, so it's all related, really. Like, the oil embargo was precisely because the Americans intervened and helped Israel during the Yom Kippur War, which, Zionists will claim there was like a defensive war on the Israeli part, but I wouldn't even say it was. It was Egypt and Syria trying to reclaim land that was stolen from them and being illegally occupied illegally occupied in violation of the Fourth Geneva Convention. Israel was building settlers in the Sinai. That's illegal. And they completely turned down every overture. Sadat offered to abide by 242. Gunnar Jarring even praised Egypt, said, hey, Egypt is agreeing to our proposals. They want peace. Israel and Golda Meir consistently turned it down. So,
they offered Israel a better peace than when they actually invaded. But I've mentioned this a lot of times on stream. One of the most interesting things about the oil embargo is the propaganda that came out of it, specifically pertaining to anti-Semitic tropes pushed on to the Arab leaders. Like, they've all got hook noses. They've all got...
That's when it started.
Yeah, they've all got, like, they're all, like, made to look fat because they've taken all the group money away from the poor Americans. It's actually kind of crazy to look at because, especially now, people want to act as if, like, God, anti-Semitism is this Arab thing, almost as if people really want to wash their hands of what the Europeans did, which Arabs have never killed 6 million Jews in camps. they kind of want to wash their hands, but they literally just transposed most of the tropes directly from Arabs onto Jews. From Jews onto Arabs.
Exactly. So before 1970s, exotic Arabs. Oil embargo happens. All the anti-Semitic imagery and stereotypes and negative stuff that you've seen throughout history, they put it on the Arabs. So many political cartoons. Now we got exactly what you said. The hook-nosed Arab. We got the greedy Arab. We got the haggling Arab. We got the Arab who's money hungry, all to demonize them because they did something that hurt Americans. Like, dude, my mom, my grandparents, they talk about the oil embargo. It's like the worst thing that ever happened to them in their lives, right? Because they had all this American freedom. You think about it. The car is a symbol of freedom for America. The oil is what runs the car, and then they can't go get gas. Like, it affected all of America. It hurt them so badly. Dude, it lasted, 3 months? Not even 6 months, okay? But this was like, they were like, dude, we cannot even believe, how could we let this happen? Then you see the gears forming to switch over to the petrodollar. This happens in the mid-70s, all as 74. A result of this. All as a result of this, because they don't want this to happen again. Because they want to get in control of it.
It's really funny how you say that after the oil embargo, all of these anti-Semitic tropes and these tropes of Arabs being greedy and money hungry are, transposed onto them. But then in 74, you get the establishment of like the petrodollar system. Really, you get that meeting in 74 with I think it was Nixon or no, it was Kissinger and whoever the head of the treasury was. I can't remember it right now. William something, whatever. But then Saudi Arabia and certain countries end up, becoming allies with America, and they are engaging in what those tropes could be applicable to. Like, they are facilitating the, acquisition of a ton of money, and they're, feeding into American military industries. And those are the countries that the Americans are actually okay with. The ones that are actually kind of feeding into, not that they are like, anti-Semitic tropes are applicable here, but they're the ones that are kind of being greedy and, working with the empire. And they're the ones that are okay with the Americans. They're not mad at those ones. Strange.
Yeah, exactly. It's hilarious. It is so funny. So this happens. I uncovered this movie called The Next Man. Okay, and I featured it in, I did a Kuwait Mentions in Movies video. I found out about it. It's almost impossible to find, by the way. I can't even find, you can't rent it anywhere. You have to buy it, and it's all awful prints. It's this whole fantastical movie where Sean Connery, 007, is playing a Saudi Arabian, and he's going behind the backs of all the OPEC Arab countries to sign a deal with America. And it's like, dude, it's crazy to me. It's so crazy. Yeah, this movie came out in 1976. Okay, and what's happening in the world by the... Dude, you're looking it up right now?
Yeah, I'm looking it up. It
are you fucking
terrible reviews.
Dude, they try to bury this movie. Like, you can't find it. Like, I can only see... what I featured in the video is like projector cuts on YouTube. I can't even find this movie. Sean Connery's wearing the Qitra Nagal, everything looking Saudi Arabian, everything. It's hilarious. I want to find a good cut of it. I want to do a full video about this trash. Like, it's pure propaganda.
That's crazy. His character's name is Khalil Abdul Mohsen.
Yep.
That's crazy a white boy. He's really quirked up, bro. That's crazy.
That is how far they go. That's how far they go, okay? So then what happens in 79? As you know, the hostage crisis in Iran, and Americans always play it out to be like, oh, look at the awful, look, they were so peaceful, blah, blah, blah. Bro, 50s, you brought in the CIA, you did the coup, you brought in the Shah Pahlavi, and then dude, it's so, do you see nowadays all the Pahlaviists all coming out in droves? Oh yeah, free Iran, all of them are Zionists. All of them hate Muslims to death. The media is propping them up to be like this like huge population or something. They are the diaspora that got kicked out or got asylum 50s, 60s, 70s who escaped the countries who hate them. They're like 1%. Like I've talked to some people. They're like, huh?
It's always strange to judge like the entirety of a political project solely off of what the beliefs of the diaspora are. Like, I mean, if you talk to Cubans in Miami, you'll get a very, unique perspective on Cuba that's not really reflective of Cubans in general.
Quite a way to describe it.
I'm being very nice. They all already hate me, and I already get too many DMs from them. I'm tired. I'm too tired to deal with them right now.
But no,
do you have some? Sorry, I was going to ask. Do you have a background in Cuba or Latin America or something like that?
I just studied Latin America a lot, but not a formal background. My girlfriend is Chilean, and then her family lived in Cuba for a bit after Pinochet kind of expelled them. They were leftists. They were communists, so they had to leave or die. So that's where my interest in Latin America started, and from there I just read a bunch.
Yeah, definitely.
Your recent video was covering a film which I remember loving in my childhood, or one of your recent videos, The Mummy. And when I was growing up...
sorry for ruining it.
No, not at all, not at all. I don't remember watching it from when I was a kid, but my sister always used to annoy me when we got slightly older, because she used to say The Scorpion King, which is the one where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson plays an Egyptian guy who turns into a scorpion. Maybe he's in The Mummy as a scorpion. I can't remember the quite exact history of how he fits into it.
At the end of Mummy Returns. Not only that, you forgot. He's PS2 graphics, The Rock.
Yes.
Those graphics.
Wait, can you fill me in on what The Mummy is? I haven't seen it, but I've seen the trailer.
Yeah, so it's a callback to the 1930s Mummy movie where there's a gung-ho tomb robber who's coming to Egypt, and he wants to get in and get the artifacts. And there's a whole plot line where Imhotep is a gigantic simp for Anaxuna Moon. And by the way, all of this is like intermingled. Like none of these timelines make any sense, but it's for the movie.
Okay.
And while they're trying to rob the tombs, Imhotep shows up, sexually assaults the main woman protagonist multiple times in the movie. And by the end of the movie, they beat, spoiler alert for a 30-year-old movie, they beat Imhotep and kiss and go off into the wind. It's a callback to 1930s movies, and it follows the plot line of the Mummy movie from the 30s. And it was huge. It was a huge, gigantic box office success, hugely popular. And, I tell the story about my brother loved those movies. I know these movies like the back of my hand. Like I could have done the video. I didn't even need to write a script. I know everything about it. But then when I watch it...
Didn't a new one come out this year too? Is that the one you're talking about?
No.
So there was a Tom Cruise one in 2017. They tried to bring it back because it was so popular, and it bombed. And there's talking, Chris, because you're a fan of the movie. They're talking about bringing it back with all of the original cast, Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. Yeah. There's talks about that.
He looks.
So we'll see if that comes to fruition.
He looks quite different to when he was young, though. But the reason I
I wonder if it's going to be the. Huh?
Oh, sorry.
Is it going to be the whale version of Brendan Fraser?
The reason I brought it up, though, is I don't know, because you mentioned Omi Jalili is in The Mummy. I don't know. You mentioned that he'd done some Zionist posting.
He's a...
Yeah, you missed one of... So very easy to miss. Omi Jalili is a darling of the British media. He was actually brought to comment on the protests in Iran, and they chose him, which I found rather bizarre, over like actual experts in Iran. He's never been to Iran. He's Baha'i, so he is from Iran. He speaks Farsi and stuff. But anyway, the reason I brought him up is because Omi Jalili actually made one of the most insane posts I've ever read. He claimed that, do you remember the Minab school strike in Iran?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He claimed that the Islamic Republic had actually blown up the school themselves, and they'd filled it with bodies that they had in refrigerators of children, and that's what was happening there. He claimed this, and he was still portrayed as like this like media darling of someone who understands the Arab world. And I think that this is kind of like a problem of like, and this fits into Orientalism, right? And how like there were these people who were kind of seen as like interpreters of the mysterious Orient, who have this feeling of and know exactly what every Iranian person feels and what the popular sentiment is of all Iranians. And it's just not quite true. But people, I think, like this sort of like, mysterious guy who's from the mysterious Middle East to hold their hand, but also only when that person is telling them exactly what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Yes. It's on purpose. Like, you can analyze it as like multiple layers of like what the hell is going on, but it's just so they can continue the narrative of Zionism good, Muslims bad. And these guys are their allies because, their history. Like Jalili is part of the diaspora who got kicked out of or left. You said he was Baha'i, so it's not seen as like the Iran government doesn't really like those people, so he hates them. It's and exactly, and it's like according to the media, is like, oh well, we have an Eastern guy here, so let's get his opinion. He is the expert, even though he hasn't lived in Iran in how many 30, 40, 50 years. By the way, it's super common in movies. Arab characters to be played by Irani diaspora Muslim haters. Super, all the time. Like in the Aladdin live action movie, they have this one actor. He's Irani, super Zionist. He even speaks Hebrew, and he's played in Zionist Hebrew movies. But he's the Arab sheikh ruler. It's just insane to me. It's insane to me. Yeah. What I uncovered when I was looking at the Aladdin 9.2, all the Aladdin 2019, all the actors are all not Arab or Arab American or anti-Muslim Zionists. It's like, what the heck?
Well, because in the
what world am I living in?
In The Mummy, you mentioned that, like, obviously I didn't notice this when I was a kid, but you mentioned how Rachel Weisz is meant to be an Egyptian, which is crazy,
She's
of all.
She's Egyptian.
And then one of the other major characters is an Israeli guy, right? Yeah,
the one that all the teenage girls thirsted over. The Magi guy with the hieroglyphics on his face and stuff. He's an Israeli. He's a Zionist. Dude, what I uncovered in that whole movie is the whole thing is a Zionist Jewish propaganda movie. Okay. Listen, the one that blew my mind, there's a scene in the movie, it blows my mind the most. Okay. There's an actor, he's pulling out necklaces, like there's the mummy is attacking him. Okay. He's pulling out necklaces, just trying anything to protect himself. He pulls out the cross. He says some stuff. He pulls out the ancient Egyptian thing, starts talking in broken Arabic, Buddha statue. The mummy's still coming after him. Then he pulls out Star of David, starts talking in Hebrew. Imhotep, he's like, oh, the language of the slaves. Dude, I can't. This is completely made up.
It's crazy.
Jews didn't, and then I discovered too, this is a new thing for me. The idea that Jews built the slaves came from the prime minister of Israel in 1977. He was in Egypt and he just said, yes, Jews built the pyramids. He said that and people just started propagandizing it and just saying it over and over again. Yes, Menachem Begin, he visited the National Museum and he just remarked out of nowhere, us Jews, we built the pyramids. He said it and now it's kind of like, just common knowledge. Like, yeah. No historical evidence whatsoever. Okay. And the reason why this is so crazy, okay, number one, it's all biblical BS. Okay.
Yeah.
Number two, they have looked it all up. Jews did not, there were no slaves that built the pyramids. Zero. There's millions of evidence they found that it was a paid, skilled workforce that built the pyramids. Okay. And movie is just saying it as if it's like, it's the truth. Don't you guys just know this?
A lot of the religious and biblical arguments, like, do people even really seriously contend with it? Like the big one, the expulsion of the destruction of the second temple and the second exile or whatever. Like they don't have enough archaeological evidence to substantiate that claim. Even like the first Babylonian exile, from what we know, from what we actually know from the historical record, it was like elites who were exiled. And then they came into contact with other sources of inspiration, specifically Zoroastrianism. And then they came back, and that was when they came back, that was when Judaism, as we know it now, a monotheistic interpretation kind of arose. But a lot of this, like, if you just go off the biblical interpretation of the biblical record, you're not going to be dealing in accurate history. It's insane to make, especially when you start making like claims to the land today off of like biblical history from thousands of years ago. That's fucking crazy. But I digress.
Yeah. All I can do is say Habibi and just roll my eyes. Like,
it's crazy.
Nah, this can't be true. You can't be saying. But the thing is, they still say this rhetoric all the time as if it is just true. Okay? There is no higher power than to say it's because God. Because God told us
even the colonization,
that this land is ours.
Even the colonization of the Americas, they did that as well. They said God said, this is our destiny. We're manifesting destiny. This is God promised this destiny. Land to us. It's
exactly. Yeah. People want to rewrite the history of the United States as if it wasn't the vast majority of them. Yeah, okay, they didn't want to be under British rule. But one of the things about America is that a lot of the Christians who are being persecuted, or if you look into it, they were trying to persecute others under the guise of freedom. They couldn't get away with it, so they want to go to America so they can exercise their freedom, basically persecute others for their religious beliefs.
A lot of the settlers, I believe the Quakers in specific, were persecuted back home, I think more than their contemporaries. But a lot of the settlers were fleeing political or religious persecution in the metropole, in their motherland, and they went over to do settler colonialism in the Americas. It's very similar.
Yep.
It's nearly one for one with Zionism, the early Zionist settlers. Same shit.
It's the same playbook, buddy. It is the same playbook.
Because it's settler colonialism.
Nothing is changing. If you read history, none of it has changed. It's all the same stuff. It's because God told me to.
And these...
I have the right.
The ideas of like Orientalism as well, like I feel like you could apply those, like that otherization. You could apply that to Native Americans and indigenous people of the Americas as well, because it's logically it's the same thing. It's like the dehumanization, the otherization, like turning them into barbarians in the conception of the Westerner to manufacture the consent and facilitate the deaths or the conquering of these people. It's the same playbook.
Yes. Yeah. If you read your history, you know about this stuff. And one of my theories as to why Zionism in Israel has been created and is working, is because people are pushing back about it so much is they did it too late. If they did this 200 years ago, they could have gotten away with it, erased the memories of the people and gotten away with it, just like how the United States do it. I was just thinking about this. Everything I freaking learned in school about America is a total lie. Christopher Columbus, what a great explorer. He went out for the Americas. Shut up. He was looking for India. He called those people Indians. He brought smallpox. He brought genocide. The dude was an asshole. Why do we have a day named after him? Why do we have a holiday named after this guy? This is a lie. And then we have people waking up, and there's people out there trying their best to be like, all right, let's really teach history. And then they ban it. Critical race theory, ban that shit. Bro, what is critical race? I've watched so many interviews with Florida people, with Texas people, Mississippi people. They ask them, okay, what are you banning? What is critical race theory? This is for the people. We need the 10 Commandments up in the classrooms. Put the 10 Commandments. Okay, which 10 Commandments, Habibi? How many Christian denominations are there? I don't even understand. Dude, I always come back to, listen to me, this is what I always do. When the Christians all agree with each other, then you can come tell us what the Christians want. How many? There's 4,000 denominations. They don't agree. They don't agree. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Anyways, so to pull it all back together, yes, my bro, this history repeating itself, and Israel was too late. That's when news started happening, movies, TV shows, all of this stuff. People could see it in their faces, and now they can't get away with it anymore with social media, okay? This thing is a blessing and a curse. Blessing and a curse. You can propagandize people so easily because everyone has a propaganda machine in their hand or in their pocket. But also you can look up what is real, what is not real. And we have incredible voices out there like you, Mr. Overzealous King of the socialists calling it as it is.
I don't know about that. A lot of
Dude,
people have
calling
an
it
issue
as
with
it
that.
is. Well, you know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for you to be surrounded. One socialist Chad.
I think I would take the.
Chad.
I think I would take the easy way out and beat myself to death with the buzzer or whatever the fuck.
So one thing you mentioned, Isaac, you mentioned Columbus and Orientalism, and in the Americas. That's what I remember. I mentioned it when we did the episode on it. Svetan Todorov's book is a really foundational text, I think, in
The Making of the
secular
Other?
colonial studies. Yeah. If you read it, there are parts of Columbus's diary. So there's one bit, or parts of the people who colonized. There's a famous bit. I remember listening to someone read it on TikTok, and I was like, oh, I've read this before. And what he says is they meet some Native Americans. They go into the Native Americans' like homes, and the Native Americans, the indigenous people, allow them to just take whatever they want. And then when the indigenous people come and see like where they are, they come and just take things. And the colonizers are incensed by it. And in fact, they talk about how they punish the indigenous people by cutting off their noses or ears. I can't remember which. But they were like, look what they're like. They just want to steal from you, even though they were so happy to do that. And the truth is none of these people actually knew anything, especially not Columbus. Columbus lied that he'd met indigenous people who told him about, you know, life in their world. He couldn't speak their language. He didn't have any interpreters with him. He also said he saw mermaids. He was like of the belief that he had gone to see mermaids, which is one of my favorite facts about the guy, that he genuinely believed that. And you think about all these people who are like revered, who we're not allowed to talk about the history of, who is, you know, as you mentioned, Yousef, like people literally want to ban this stuff of like criticizing these people and they think it's wrong. And it's like, they were just saying things, like they were just making things up about these places they were in that we may as well throw out because a lot of it was rubbish.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and when you were just saying that, it reminded me of the your anti-Semitism that was happening in Europe. It wasn't happening in Arabian lands. Okay, it wasn't like perfect, but Jews and Muslims and Christians were all getting along just A-okay for thousands of years. Israel pops up. Hey, Iraqi Jews, come to Israel. Everyone, come to Israel. The Iraqi Jews, they didn't want to go. What happens? Mossad comes in, false flag operations, bombs their people. Oh, look what the Muslims, they hate you now. They hate you. They all flee. Yeah. It's insane, dude. It's insane. Even today, you talk to Palestinians, you talk to Arabs, okay? And, you know, I'm not going to lie, there are some people who are anti-Jewish because of all this Israeli Zionism thing. But many of them, you talk to them, they're like, you know, I don't have any problem with Jews. I could live with Jews, no problem. I've talked to Jews. I have friends who are Jews. Of course, I have communities that are Jews. They don't have any problems with this kind of stuff. But then you have the white and blue country over there saying, oh, to be anti-Zionist is to be anti-Semitic. Shut up. I think I was born yesterday. No.
Well, I think as well. So I've always been interested, and especially when I was doing my like masters around this, one of the parts of Orientalism that Said actually doesn't explore as much, but it is talked about by people who innovate his work, and he does make mentions of it, is the fact, and I think actually, no, Said does mention this enough, but I think when I was first thinking about it, I never really thought about this. Orientalism was also about creating the Occident, as in creating the West. And one of the major things, and like the self-justification and the legitimization, was by creating a barbarous other. We created a barbarous other to make ourselves feel better. And if you think about anti-Semitism in Europe now, let's be real here. Most of these people don't want to reckon what happened after the Nazis, where the Nazis went, how a lot of countries like America had relationships with the Nazis and all of this stuff. And so they're just like, well, that's an Arab thing. And they make out as if the Middle East's history has always been persecution of Jews, when really that's our thing. And they do it to make themselves feel better about our history, our culture that has been, you know, drenched in blood. We do it with war as well. We portray the Middle East and like a place like Sudan as somewhere that's been in eternal conflict. Throughout the 20th century, Europe was by far the bloodiest continent because we killed you know, how many people in the First World War, how many people in the Second World War. We killed millions and millions of Europeans, tens of millions. But we choose now to kind of just forget about that, forget about all of this stuff in favor of basically being like, yeah, this is just what Arabs are going to be like forever. Arabs were always this way. And it's to feel better about ourselves. And I think that's kind of like something I've always thought about Orientalism, that people often forget about. Like, a lot of people know the term and they're like, that's Orientalism. And they're right. But they often forget like that it has like a dialectical thing of, it's not just about making others barbarous. It's about making ourselves civilized. That really matters. And these films are perfect examples of it. Like Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah. Look how bad the Muslims are. Look how sexist they are. They're not like us. They're different. We're good. We're, you know, laughing at them because of how backwards they are. That's how progressive we actually are.
Mm-hmm.
Preach, Chris, preach.
Bro, another video. Another movie would be that one, the Adam Sandler one. Meet the Zohan.
Zohan.
Oh, holy fuck, dude. Yo, you know what is really crazy? Whenever they're trying to push, because like this is what they'll do. They'll demonize Arabs, but they'll also try and make like Israelis sound super fucking cool. They start talking about like Krav Maga and shit. Are you ever just watching something and then there's like a Krav Maga reference? Like, bro, does Krav Maga do anything? Does that work on anyone who isn't a toddler? I think if someone came up to me and was like, I'm gonna fucking Krav Maga you, I'd be like, bro, like, go away.
Bro, okay, listen, you just brought up Zohan. I never watched it, but I've been getting thousands of comments. Dude, I watched it and I'm working on the video. On Friday, I'm releasing the video.
No way.
I'm gonna dub it the most Zionist propaganda comedy of all time.
Worse than Borat?
Yes, it's actually worse than Borat. It's worse than Borat because it's so on the nose. Like, at least, I think I say, or maybe I cut it out, at least Sacha Baron Cohen is smart about it. You know, he puts a little like, oh, let me do this, let me do that, so it's not on the nose. This is 100% on the nose. And not only that, it makes the Israelis look worse. Dude,
I can't remember it.
The movie, you're gonna laugh when you watch this movie. It's propping up the Israelis as, oh, cool, we're all super open-minded, super sexual. Look at all our women on the beaches. The entire time, it's misogynistic. It's insane. And then, okay, listen, I'm gonna spoil my video right now. Okay, but listen, there's been this rhetoric constantly from the United States, from Israel. There are terrorists everywhere. Every Muslim is an enemy. They could, at any moment, they could engage and attack and do a terroristic attack. And Bush has said it multiple times. I'm going to include a clip of Bush. There's these sleeper cells. There's these sleeper agents. There's these organizations. They all want to kill you. They all want to take you out. These evil Muslims, which none of it is freaking true. And in the movie, the Israeli character gets on the phone and he mobilizes his Israeli IDF sleeper agents in New York City. Dude,
I can't remember it.
Dude, there's a hot dog cookery guy. He pulls it all out and makes a gun out of hot dog making stuff. And he goes and meets up with the other Israelis. Like, it shows 3-4 different Israelis just coming out as sleeper agents, like one movers. They get their vests on. Another guy makes a gun. Falafel shop makes it. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys throw this crap at the Muslims and Arabs all the time. And you're literally saying, hey, look, in this movie, we got this, we do this shit.
Yeah. I can't remember the movie very well because I watched it a very long time ago. But isn't Adam Sandler's character like hypersexual too? Isn't he like doing shit with his boner?
Yes, I'm going to bring that up, dude. I call him
he's like opening doors with it.
Sexual predator.
Yeah, yes, bro.
First of all, they make his bulge huge to communicate like, oh, look, the Israelis have gigantic packages. And then he's thrusting it all over all the time. He sexually assaults and does sexual violence towards women all the time. There's one scene where he's washing hair. He just puts his dick on the woman's shoulder, like out of nowhere. And Crazy. Yeah, yeah. And then he gets another person to do it too. He's constantly the whole plot. There's a plot of the movie where he's the hairdresser who gives the happy endings. So he's sexualizing all these sex with them. It's so disgusting, dude. Literally,
Yeah,
I was
that's
watching
crazy.
it with my wife. She got up and walked off. Walked away. She said, "I'm not watching it anymore." She was like, "No,
Nice.
no, I can't
Good for
do
her.
this." Yeah,
Smart.
and I told her, "You're not wrong. I'm the one who's
Crazy.
wrong to keep watching this." Because my viewers want to make me suffer, dude. You know, I love my audience. I love them, but really, I think they hate me sometimes. This Zohan movie is on Friday. I'm going to deem it the worst propaganda movie. And as you know, all of this stems, by the way, this came out in 2008. Okay. And I could not listen. I don't engage in conspiracy theories. I go and I try to find information and see what's true, what's most likely. Okay. Brand Israel started in 2005, 2006. The whole PR campaign to make Israel sexy. Let's show all these sexy women. Let's do all these ads. Like it was a huge campaign. Gal Gadot came out of this campaign. They put her on the front cover of Maxim magazine, gave her a free career in Hollywood. She won Miss Israel in 2004. And this movie came out in 2008. You're going to tell me there's no connection. There were no backhand deals making Israel sexy. The entire front of the movie, it looks like an ad for Israel. They're on the beaches. They have the bikini women being all sexualized, objectifying women. Like it's so awful. It's so
The Gal
awful.
Gadot stuff is funny too because she's just a dog shit actor. Like,
Dude.
brother,
Halil,
hell no,
give me
you need
the
to give me the stone.
Give me
Bro.
the stone.
Dude, there's no way. Like, who was casting her and was like, she's got it. She's got the X factor. Like, come on, bro.
This is a PR. And don't forget, in Wonder Woman 2, she more Zionist propaganda crap. She's saving the Arab little girl from being killed. Yeah.
I can't remember it.
Yes, in Wonder Woman 2, she saves the Arab girl. Look, we're such good Zionists. We really care about it. But by the way, in Zohan, there's this scene where the Arab bad guy shoots a shop and it explodes, and an Arab guy comes out, and Zohan throws him a card. It says Israeli reparations, like we're gonna pay for that. Yeah, it's making shit up, dude.
Wow.
It's making like, oh look, us Zionists, us Israelis, we're really good. We're really good to the Arabs, really, really, dude.
It's crazy. Who directed and wrote that movie? Is it Sandler himself?
I don't know. I think I don't know. Maybe I think it could be Sandler or somebody else. But it was written by the Judd Apatow guy, you know, who did all those Hangover and all those. Yeah. He wrote it. He did all those movies objectifying women and sexualizing, making frat bro comedies and all this crap, man. You know, I was thinking the other day, comedy movies have a shelf life. You look back at them and they don't age well, really, because listen, my dad, often. My dad, he loves this Trading Places, Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd.
Oh God, yeah.
We watch it together, and I always squeal like a little schoolgirl because there's a Kuwait clock in the car. No one's ever gonna notice that, but I notice it. But anyways, it has not aged well, dude. It's like objectifying women. There's a whole scene with a gorilla sexually assaulting someone, and it's supposed to be funny. And then they're playing all these dumb racist jokes that don't land, like not in a funny way, not in a unique way. There's some social commentary about the rich versus the poor, but it has not aged very well, man.
Yeah. I saw Isaac, you might know who they are. It's called Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
I only know because of you.
They had a web series, but there's a clip in it where it's like this joke film where they do time traveling. It's actually incredible because I thought they'd like pre-recorded the film from like decades before using like they'd planned to release this film like 2 decades later, but they actually collected huge amounts of old footage that they kind of manipulated to make it look like they'd, you know, like they'd manipulated it to somehow fit with the film that they later made. It's actually incredible. But in the film, they go back to 2008 and he's in the cinema and he's just watching The Hangover. and everyone's laughing, and it's just people using like homophobic slurs in the film. And you think about it now, and it's like, yeah, that probably would just not land in the same way. And that's 20 years ago. No, well, not even 20 years ago. And you compare that with, I don't know, like something that came like 10 years even before that. And you're like, yeah, this stuff isn't so great. I mean, the Rush Hour films as well. The Rush Hour films are basically the sort of joke of it is Jackie Chan is racist to Chris Murphy? No.
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker, that's it. I don't know why I said Chris Murphy. Chris Tucker, and they're racist to one another. And that's basically the plot of the film. Like, they kind of just make racist jokes about each other. And it's like, yeah, I'm not sure that aged very well.
I actually can't think of a comedy piece. To be fair, I don't engage with that much media in general, like films or TV shows. But funnily enough, I do think Curb Your Enthusiasm is genuinely very, very funny. And like a lot of episodes are like, I'd probably say genius. But the Palestinian Chicken
I love Curb. I love Curb.
Yeah, it's great. It's probably one of my favorite shows. I think it's so clever. It's very clever.
So funny. You know, I did want to mention, you bring up the Rush Hour movies. I think my take on it is they are battling racism by being racist. And through that racism against themselves that has been enacted on them by largely white people, they are pushing through it and trying to heal. But it's not fully developed. I need to think more about it. But a lot of Asian people and a lot of Black people love those movies. Like, I've had a number of Black friends, and we always connect really quickly when I say I love Rush Hour because I love Jackie Chan when I was younger. And when I was younger, like, okay, I knew that they were racist jokes, but I didn't know like the depths of it until people explained them to me. But a lot of Black people love those movies. But you're right. Maybe it hasn't aged. It hasn't aged that well if you think about it.
See, I haven't seen them in so long, but there is still some good comedy. Some comedy has aged like fine wine. I would say, I'm sure both of you have seen it, the song from a British TV show that was political with puppets, and they had a song that's like, I've never met a nice South African, which aged pretty well, you know, and they also have some quite funny jokes. We've definitely mentioned this recently. They have some quite funny jokes about Israel. There's one where he's on the show like Mastermind, and they're asking him what's his specialist subject, and I think he said, they ask him what's your occupation, and he says the West Bank and Gaza, and they're asking him like about who's killed more children, South Africa or Israel, and he's like, South Africa, and they're like, no, the answer is Israel. So Yitzhak Shamir, isn't it? Yeah, it's Shamir's puppet, which feels kind of crazy because, you know, that aged well, but unfortunately a lot of stuff hasn't.
There are some nice South Africans, but they were the ANC and the militant ones. Those ones are cool. Like Nelson Mandela, I like him. But prior to that, yeah, I would agree. Not very many nice South Africans.
They also mentioned Brayton Back, who I assume was like a white anti-apartheid South African, because they say he was the one nice Afrikaner, and then they say we put him in jail. But no, I definitely agree with you, and it's funny how so much of like you called it in like what you kind of like talked to us about or mentioned previously. You called it like casual Arab slander.
Yeah.
Which is just in. You kind of think about how much it's in films, how dominant Arab bad guys were for so long, especially in the 80s, and like, you know, there's a really funny joke. I've forgotten his name. I think his name's Kyle Gordon. He does he's like old James Bond movies, and he's like, the plot is just an ethnic man has taken control of a submarine. And you think about it, how much of these, like, it was literally just like, yep, non-white people are bad. Russians as well, I guess, when it was Cold War, but a little less so now. But Arabs were so dominant as evil in films, right?
Yes. So, I call it casual Arab slander. I have this whole video series where it is, it's like the 2.0 version of Real Bad Arabs. I mentioned previously, Dr. Jack Shaheen went through and documented them in a book, all these slanderous things about Arabs that were just constant in Hollywood movies. So I'm going through and I'm looking at them and I'm finding the clips, putting them in videos so people can watch it for themselves. And it is so abundant and so common all over the place in so thousands of movies. movies that have nothing to do with Arabs, nothing to do with Muslims. They just bring up an Arab like, let's laugh at them. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's just so common. And this helps to manufacture consent for people being okay with Zionism, with people being okay with Israel. It's not on purpose. I don't think it is on purpose. There's some people who are like, oh yeah, all of Hollywood is run by Jews, obviously. We don't need to go that far, okay? You have, listen, you have people who have a Jewish identity who just know about Israel. Some of them have never been to Israel. A lot of these directors and writers stuff, they never been to Israel. All they know is that there are people trying to get a land. They have a surface level knowledge about it. And they know, because they're told all the time that Arabs or Muslims are the bad guys of the Jews. So they throw this crap in the movies. Some of it is just like, whatever, just throw it in there. It's super not nefarious, but obviously it's disgusting and problematic. And then other times I find out that, the people who are running these studios are all part of pro-Zionist organizations like the Mummy. We talked about the Mummy. I uncovered that the person who owned the studio that funded the Mummy was part of the World Jewish Congress pro-Zionist organization. And that's why there was so much anti-Arab.
Do you know what their name was?
I can look it up real quick for you. It's so disgusting. It's really crazy when you think about all this stuff.
Do you know as well, I told Isaac this, there is a very significant producer whose name is Arnon Milchan. So he has credits including 12 Years a Slave, JFK, which I've never heard of, Heat, Fight Club, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, LA Confidential, The Revenant, The Big Short. He's produced these things. He actually worked in procuring weapons for the Israeli nuclear program, or parts of the Israeli nuclear program. This is not like a conspiracy theory. It's openly on his Wikipedia. There's a quote from Shimon Peres that says, Arnon is a special man. It was I who recruited him when I was at the Ministry of Defense. Arnon was involved in numerous defense-related procurement activities and intelligence operations. His strength in making connections at the highest levels, his activities gave us a huge advantage strategically, diplomatically, and technologically. So this guy is still like heavily involved in filmmaking, and he is literally like just an Israeli intelligence guy. Oh, wow. He's a billionaire, a film producer, former spy. It's actually kind of insane. And I really, what you mentioned about like some people will just go straight to like, oh, it's just Jewish people. But I think that the thing that discounts is what they don't, or what that kind of ignores, which is kind of important, is quite a lot of, in fact, most white Westerners are just pretty casually racist against Arabs.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
They don't know shit. And, as you mentioned in a film like The Mummy, it doesn't even have any Arabs in, really, let alone Egyptians. And they're making a film about it.
It's crazy.
So are you really surprised that there's... Because you mentioned, is it ululating?
Yeah. The zaghruda, it's ululating.
The noise that people would be familiar with it, they're like, oh yeah, they're making it, and you're just kind of and you just kind of point out how it has no relevance, how it makes no sense.
Yeah. Men don't do that sound. It just makes no sense. Dude, my aunts can do it. It's like you're hearing it from a movie. They're crazy. So they put their hand like this, and then you move your tongue left to right while you're like, that's how it makes a sound.
Because someone did it at Sabrina. Someone did it at Sabrina Carpenter recently, didn't they?
I heard about that. And she was like, don't do that.
Yeah, she was like, oh, why are you doing that? And the person was like, oh, I'm celebrating. I'm like enjoying the show.
Dude, it's so common. It's so common.
And it's turned into a war cry in this film that has like no...
Crazy.
that has no Arabs.
Zero Arabs. Somebody actually commented and said that maybe one of the reasons, maybe it's partially the reason, but it's because this is what Native Americans did. And this is a callback to like old cowboy movies. And they were like, oh, it feels like something's missing. Let's throw that in there. What do Arabs do? Let's throw that in there. That's the theory. So it's like, okay, I kind of get that. But they do that in Zohan By the way, they make the guys do the Zagruda like twice in the movie. And it's like, okay, this stupid ass
It just
crap
feels weird. Like it doesn't,
makes no
when
sense.
you see who's doing it, who's deploying it, I don't know. It just doesn't feel tasteful at all.
Yes. And Chris, along the lines of what we were talking about, like all these big Zionist supporters, I'm going to give you 2 examples. First, let me read from you The Mummy, which is a quote from Real Bad Arabs about who ran it. So it's right here. Yeah. Universal's president and chief operating officer is Ron Meyer. Universal's owned in part by Seagram. The CEO is Edgar Bronfman Jr., and his father runs the World Jewish Congress. He runs the entire thing. And that's a very pro-Zionist organization. That could, in Real Bad Arabs, it says this could be the possible reason why it's so anti-Arab and so disgusting.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Now, you were talking about big pro-Zionist people that you never would have thought of. Growing up, did you ever watch Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's do you know about Isaac? Or I'll just quickly
I mean,
tell
honestly,
you this.
growing up, I had a very strange media diet. I just watched The Sopranos when I was like really young, and that was pretty much it. I don't know. It was a very strange childhood. Yeah.
When are we going to go into your history? I want to learn about you, sir. I want to learn about you, and I want to learn about Chris.
It's not that interesting.
No, you are that interesting. Okay. I was looking up and you have like these sexy photos of you like rap producing or something. I'm like, damn, dude. Look at this mega Chad producer right here. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. We can get into it we can get into it later if you want.
Thirst trap. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So Power Rangers, this duo of producers, they took the Zoo Ranger. It's a Saint Seiya offshoot, Japanese people fighting big monsters. And then they filmed Americans putting a plot along to it. And then they put the 2 footages together to make it like one story. It's actually really smart. It's really funny. So they paid half the amount that anyone would to produce a show because they had all these action scenes. And this was a version of the Saint Seiya show that did poorly in Japan. Zoo Ranger is called. Okay. That's what made Saban the billions and billions. Saban is a super Zionist. Literally every interview you see of him, he has maybe 3-4 Star of David necklaces wearing the yarmulke and has said in multiple interviews, I love Israel, love Israel, Israel. Like I worship Israel, dude. This is another example of one like, and this is played throughout the Arab world. Like I grew up on Power Rangers. People loved this stuff. Nobody even thought about it. And he also took a lot of anime and dubbed it. One of them is the Pinocchio, Japanese anime series from the 70s. This was his whole thing that he did. He would take old media, dub it or put in new footage and then repackage it. So Saban is a huge one of these guys. Interesting. And the second one, I'm totally blanking on, but it's really just it's making me so distraught because I'm also thinking now about Spielberg movies. Okay, and Schindler's List is an incredible movie. I love that movie. I think it's maybe one of not in my top 10, but I can recognize as maybe one of the best movies of all time. But then he also made that Munich movie. Have you ever seen that Munich movie?
I wanted to watch it.
Dude, I want to see that.
What's it about?
It's about the Munich massacre in the Olympics from the 70s.
And Operation Wrath of God that followed. So the thing that killed, the operation that killed Kanafani and stuff.
Yep. Wow. Spielberg made a movie about that and I want to watch it.
Yeah, is it new? Is it old?
No, it's old. Early 2000s.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, because in my understanding, it's also about like, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't think Spielberg will have handled that or done like a great job of that. I'm going to be honest. Like, I saw his newest film and it was fine. But yeah, I know he made some decent films previously, but now they're all just about aliens and space, really. And it's like, okay, it's fine.
And if you... War of the Worlds, which he made with Tom Cruise. GDF recently pointed this out. You guys know about the GDF YouTube channel, right? That guy?
Yeah, it's great. Great channel,
Amazing, amazing. He recently pointed out Spielberg made that movie, and the aliens are a metaphor for for terrorism, and that is if you look at the H.G. Wells novel from the early, like the 1910, 1920s, it was about the same thing too, like the other European invading people. And
Interesting.
I did not know that. I did not.
Yes,
Because it's a really present theme in like the Narnia books. There's like because Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is obviously the most famous
that's
one.
the Christian one, right?
Yeah, and Carol. There is, my dad reminded me of this because when I was a kid, we used to listen to all of them. There is one where they're just fighting like some Islamic-esque army that's just evil. Someone in the comments will probably know exactly what I'm talking about. There'll be a big Narnia head here. But yeah, you kind of, I guess you see like how much of this is just like propaganda, of like fighting against bad guys. Even a lot of people wouldn't consider it, but a lot of Stephen King films are kind of about like evil spirits, and like Pet Sematary is literally about this burial ground. I don't know if it is on a Native American burial ground, but that's a huge trope in American cinema, ghosts and spooky stuff happening because of the Native Americans. Kind of funny that most people don't really think about. That's an anxiety from what they did to the indigenous people, right? That they're worried about being haunted by the crimes that they perpetrated.
Yeah, they should be.
And they just make all of these films where most people don't even think about that there is an element of guilt within it, of like what has happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stanley Kubrick picked up on that in The Shining, and he made The Shining movie, which is known as one of the most crazy horror movies. I recently rewatched it this past Halloween, and there are a lot of themes about Native Americans. There's a lot of Native American symbology. There's a lot of Native America things going on underneath, So it is a real thing. It's a real thing.
Are there any other topics you wanted to touch on before we?
I have a topic that was like, because I'm happy to stay for like about 2 hours, so maybe like 20 minutes, half an hour or so more, if that's okay with you, Yousef, and you, Isaac.
Let's go, baby.
Because I was going to take it a bit of a different direction, and sorry, Isaac. Isaac, what are you like outside of this? What kind of films do you know? You're mostly reviewing films you hate. What do you actually like in films? Like, I guess it's just something interesting to talk about,
Okay, well, I'll read. It's funny how you say that movies that I hate. It's more about, from my perspective, it's about education, because the first step of education is recognizing there's a problem. And how do we recognize these things? A lot of these things are invisible. And I'm getting so many beautiful comments on my videos about people being like, I'm a white person from Arkansas and I never thought about these things. Or I'm a European in Poland who didn't even pick up on any of these things. I can't even believe it. Like, people aren't even aware of these things. So I can see the negative connotation about like, oh, I'm picking on these bad movies. Or a lot of people are like, oh, great, you're pointing out all the bad ones. Where are the good ones? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I would love to know, where are the good ones? I'm on the hunt.
What do you not have any like favorite movies?
So in terms of Arab representation, I have a Habibi movie tier list where I rank them, and I have 2 movies in B tier. Nothing has hit A or S tier yet. Okay, and one of them is an anime movie. The other one is The English Patient. It has an air of Orientalism, but it's more about ignorance, and that's why it's in the B tier.
And I heard through the grapevine that your favorite movie was actually A Waltz with Bashir. Is that true?
My favorite movie?
Is that true? Oh, okay.
Have you heard of Waltz with Bashir?
I have not even heard of it.
It's actually the only film I've ever considered making a YouTube video about, or one of the 2 only films I've ever considered. But A Waltz with Bashir, you probably wouldn't believe it. It is this beautifully animated. Isaac and I actually did a bonus episode on our Patreon about it. It is this beautifully animated Israeli film. That the animation style is wonderful. It's about the Sabra and Shatila massacres. It is unbelievable, and it was lauded as like this great psychological piece of Israelis looking back on what they did. But
Brother.
it is terrible. It is actually
It's
terrible.
so bad, bro. It's literally just the Israelis being like, fuck, man, we're the victims of Sabra and Shatila. The mental scars, that makes us the number one victims. That's pretty much the movie.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
It's a dog shit movie.
Like, so are you asking personally what are my favorite movies,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
in terms of like Arab representation? What
No.
would be
Just in general.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. American History X is definitely top 3. Absolutely
Okay.
love that movie for so many reasons. Grand Budapest Hotel. It just like, I'm just entranced, and I freaking love that movie.
You like Wes Anderson?
Fantastic. Yeah, Wes Anderson is excellent.
You ever
Yeah,
seen
when
Isle of Dogs?
Yeah, super fun.
I love that movie.
I love Wes Anderson when he's not like leaning on Orientalism. Isle of Dogs, okay, I love it. There's just, it's not like on purpose or bad reason. There's just like this hint of exoticization of
Well, I guess
Asia
there
and
is,
Japan.
right?
And then he also made the movie Jarlene, where the 3 white people go to India, and there's like this air of Indian Orientalism in it, but not like from an American perspective, and not trying to be negative. But yeah, so Grand Budapest Hotel, just the storytelling, the style, I freaking love that.
I think Isle of Dogs, I think I liked it so much because I was on an edible and I cried during the part when the dog was like, I don't know why I bite. I was like, fuck, man. This shit's really getting to me right now. I was like off an edible. I was like, oh, fuck. I
Dude,
can't.
stuff hits you different. It hits you different when you're on that. So my wife and I, for a short period, what we were doing is we would take a THC gummy and then we would watch our childhood favorites. And that just like would absolutely ruin them for us, but like times 20. You know, like dude, there's this movie that I loved when I was young, Kid in King Arthur's Castle. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Nobody's seen this movie. It's a Disney movie, which, by the way, the first American movie ever done by 007 and Kate Winslet. What's the 007 actor? The blonde guy? Anyways, he was in that freaking movie in the 90s, a Disney movie. Yeah, it is so horrendously
Not
bad.
Daniel Craig.
Yes, Daniel Craig. Yes.
Oh,
His
is he
first
blonde?
time he was in an American movie. Yeah, he's blonde. Yeah,
yeah, he
naturally.
is blonde.
Oh.
And that movie was like 40 times worse when you're high, dude. And by the way, Daniel Craig, I really enjoyed the movie Queer. Have you seen it at all? It's amazing. It's really, really good. And
It looked really interesting.
The ayahuasca scenes are just hilarious. Hilarious.
The new Seth Rogen film, by the way, The Invite, is really actually surprisingly good. I don't know if you've seen any trailers for it or anything, but it's actually surprisingly good.
I gotta check that out.
Seth it's quite
Rogen
an awkward one to see
uh,
in the cinema, but yeah.
Speaking of Seth Rogen and his Sausage Party movie, they play up just like in Zohan, the hummus. Oh, we can meet. They have the Palestinian and Jew, a Muslim and Jew fighting in that movie, Sausage Party, and they
Really?
come together. Yeah. That's a whole plot thing in the movie, man.
I
Sausage
forgot
Party.
this.
Sausage
I don't
Party.
think I'm familiar enough.
Yeah, and they bond over hummus. Wait, you never seen that movie?
I have, but I was like young
Okay.
and probably just didn't understand.
Okay.
That's the difference. That's the difference between, I guess, like when you grow up in like an Arab country or around loads of Arabs, you're so aware of Palestine from a young age. But I'm exactly the same thing. When I watched it, it was, I don't know when Sausage Party came out, but I only really learnt about Palestine properly when I was 16, 17. Like I started reading books about it and I was like, why don't I know more about this like horrific thing that's going on in the world? Like, why do I not know more about, why is this not like all my media talks about, with the Israeli behavior? And then, as you learn more, you kind of find out why that they're largely silent on this stuff. But it's so funny that like, I would never have spotted that or never have thought about it back then. I'd have just been like, oh, okay, this is something that's happening in some dumb film. Because I know Seth Rogen's not like a mega Zionist or anything. I know he's been like, yeah, I went on I think he
haven't
mentioned like
looked into
going on
him.
Birthright. He said some like Seth Rogen.
I think he kind of disavowed Israel in some random interview.
He said that this is it. He said that we were fed a huge amount of lies on Birthright in 2020. As a Jewish person, I was fed a huge amount of lies about Israel my entire life. They never tell you there were people there. They make it seem like it was just sitting there empty and like, oh, the door's open. I would never live in Israel. It doesn't make any sense to me, which is, you know, kind of surprising to hear from someone like a big actor in Hollywood, a big Jewish actor. You know, you usually expect like maybe like I know Larry David is not like Jerry Seinfeld, but you kind of don't really expect that always.
1738. You have to say that whenever somebody mentions Jerry Seinfeld. Do you know what I mean by that?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I do.
damn,
I was like, why? I was like, why are you mentioning?
Bro really loves Fetty Wap.
Fetty Wap,
Hell yeah.
1738.
Oh yeah, all right. I love Fetty Wap too. You can get behind it.
Yeah, because he was dating a 17-year-old when he was 38.
Yeah, crazy. That's fucking crazy.
Anytime somebody says Seinfeld, now I say 1738. What happened to Fetty Wap, man? My bimmer
know.
son Jimmy Choos. What happened to that guy?
I don't know,
I
man.
have
But
no
he was
idea.
tight. I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
He made some incredible music for a short while that was like
So,
really popular when I was a kid.
Yeah. So, bring it back to a little bit more personal, like you're talking about, like you grew up and then you had to read about it. Being Kuwaiti, being Arab, it was just omnipresent that Israel and Zionism is evil. This is happening constantly. And being in Kuwait, my best friend growing up, one of my best friends is he was Palestinian. And just even as a kid, like him telling me about it all the time and bringing it up and hearing about his family in Palestine, it's harrowing. It's harrowing. It's really crazy.
When did you? How long were you in Kuwait for? When did you leave Kuwait?
Yeah, no, I'm born and raised in Kuwait, and I came to college in the United States. I went to Clemson University. Then I went back to Kuwait to finish my degree, and I graduated in Kuwait. And I worked in Kuwait for 3 years until I was 25, and then I decided to move to the United States.
Are you? How old are you now? Are you okay
I'm
with giving that
37.
information now? 37. Okay.
37. Yeah, I think I'm one generation above you guys. I think I saw on your Instagram, Isaac, you were something like 30. Was it your birthday?
That was my girlfriend's birthday, but she turned 30. Yeah, 2 days ago.
Happy belated birthday.
Dang, I'll tell her she'll say thank you. But I'm 28.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Oh no! I was just gonna say, obviously, Kuwait had and it still does. I know a lot of Palestinians who grew up in like Kuwait and such, because obviously, a lot of Palestinians unfortunately are not in Palestine for I don't know why. There's some state that maybe got rid of a lot of Palestinians, and a lot of them ended up spread out all over the Middle East. And I know there was a huge amount of Palestinians who used to work in Kuwait and send money back over to Palestine for the longest time.
Yeah. I mean, we can go into a little bit of history of that if you want me to talk about it. Basically, like Kuwait was the number one. They protected the Palestinians. Like they were the number one country to move to for Palestinians to be safe, especially in the 70s, 80s. And then the Gulf War happened.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about that.
Yes. So the Gulf War happens. Saddam Hussein promises the Palestinians, I'm going to give you guys I'm going to go after the Israel after this. And I promise you guys the country. And not a lot of people know about this, but Saddam Hussein shot rockets into Israel during the Gulf War too. The Palestinians said, all right, we'll side with you. And it was just like a giant slap in the face to Kuwait and the country.
Yeah.
Right. So my understanding is Fatah sided or supported Saddam, but Hamas actually didn't. Hamas Hamas refrained from supporting Saddam. They didn't support American intervention at all either, but they did not support Saddam the way Fatah did.
I never knew that. I never knew that there was this. Because I know obviously it's like one of Arafat's biggest blunders. Yeah. And a lot of people think it's because Arafat had declining power and he really wanted to get it back. And so he thought it would. There's also Sorry, I have to say this fact.
Yeah.
Do either of you know how the one person, or like one of the people who actually died as a result of those missiles died in Israel?
How?
So it was an old guy, because Israel kept saying that Saddam was going to gas them, even though the Iraqis didn't have the capacity to do it. And an old guy accidentally strangled himself with a gas mask, and he was one of the only casualties of the Scud missiles fired at Israel. That's in one of Tom Segev's books. Yeah. Wow. It's a bizarre fact that I just remembered.
Well, another thing that's probably worth mentioning too is Saddam, when he did invade Kuwait, he explicitly linked his occupation of Kuwait with the Israeli occupation of Palestine, right? And he said, well, it's weird for you on the global stage to tell me to withdraw from Kuwait when you're not applying the same pressure on Israel. And I guess one of the consequences of that action, and this is not praise for Saddam, but one of the consequences of that action of Saddam was the initiation of the Madrid peace process and the negotiations that came after in Washington. So, I mean, not to say like, oh, it was worth it for him to invade Kuwait. That's not my position. But it's interesting just observing history as like a fan of history, as a student of history, looking back and seeing, well, Saddam, he kind of laid bare Western hypocrisy in a very brutal action, in a brutal action that was unnecessary. But through that action, he showed how hypocritical these people are.
Yeah, definitely. So, so the Palestinians, they side with Saddam, giant slap in the face of Kuwait, because we've been nurturing the people for 30, 40, 50 years, some were safe. So after the Gulf War happened, they were like collectively, indirectly punished. Basically, they weren't given their jobs back. A lot of them couldn't survive, and they had families in Kuwait, and the vast majority of Palestinians fled. The ones who stayed were never sided with Saddam, and were still part of the Kuwait and Arab culture. So that's kind of like a little bit of a history. That has all, watered down, especially after the invasion of Iraq. After that, like a lot more Palestinians moved to Kuwait and lived in Kuwait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's such a, it was an, like, I know that a lot of people talk about that decision by Arafat as just like, it wasn't a very smart decision at all, and why he did it is kind of really questionable.
Especially because at that time, the Palestinian national movement was actually gaining a lot of sympathies in the West as well. Especially because contrasting that to Yitzhak Shamir, who was the Israeli prime minister at the time, who everybody could see was like an intransigent, very unlikable douchebag, member of the Stern gang, literally a terrorist. So he was very unlikable. Contrast that with the Palestine movement at that time, that moment in history, and they were getting a lot of favor from the West. So I think he kind of squandered it.
I think the argument made by a lot of people is literally that thing of it's right during the Intifada or just in the process of the Intifada.
Yeah.
And Arafat was scared because the leadership was becoming much more popular and elitist. Yeah. And also the other thing is Arafat had never actually lived in the occupied territories. So Arafat never lived in the West Bank and Gaza. And so there was like a growing disconnect between someone like Arafat and, say like a Palestinian who was experiencing occupation. And that's not to say Arafat wasn't Palestinian or anything, but just to say like, there was a difference. There was like this difference of like a life and a change in the Palestine movement. And, it's crazy how much has happened since then. I don't know. Just like the days since then is just unbelievable. Like the years since then, that in many ways, a lot of everything is just worse than since then. It's like the Gaza genocide is unbelievable. And just the fact that, then the occupation had been going on not even 30 years. And now what is it, 60? 60 years of occupation since 67? So next year it's 60 years of Israeli occupation of the West Bank, Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, Golan Heights.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yasser Arafat is a complicated figure, to say the least. Which, by the way, part of my name is Yasser. My great grandfather's name is Yasser.
Interesting.
So I share that little similarity with him.
Yeah. It's a tight name.
Yeah, Yasser. Yeah.
So, I really wanted to ask you, are you into like David Lynch's films at all?
Oh yeah. Hell yeah, man.
I just
love
finished
David
watching
Lynch.
Twin Peaks, the series and the film. Amazing. Really enjoyed that. And no, I just do you have Letterboxd?
No.
Do you not have Letterboxd?
No.
Oh my goodness.
That's surprising. You strike me as a guy who would definitely be letterboxing.
Yeah. I never jumped on that website.
Oh, it's amazing. It's one of my favorite things. My favorite feature is being able to remember the day you saw a film because you keep like a log of it, and the place you saw it as well, you can generally remember. Like I remember the first time I ever saw a film that wasn't in the UK, or, you know, a film in any place. Oh, actually, I knew the other thing I really wanted to ask. Do you like Iranian cinema at all?
I am not even very familiar with Irani films.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Just not, it's never been your like major interest, or is there any like specific reason, or?
No, so like growing up, I was all about Western movies and TV shows. Me and my friends, we all were watching the American stuff. The only Arab stuff, like super rare. Oh yeah, and Bollywood movies, Indian movies growing up. Like I wouldn't be able to name any names, but like we watched Indian movies all the time. It's really huge in Kuwait, especially since there's a huge Indian population in Kuwait. But I haven't watched many Irani cinema or movies. Why? What were you going to bring up about that?
Oh no, I am a big fan of Iranian cinema. Like I really like it. And a lot of people that I know who are like big into film absolutely adore Iranian cinema because, you know, there are some truly wonderful films that have been made by Kiarostami is the person who I'm most familiar with. And Panahi is very good as well. And there was obviously the Palme d'Or winner last year. It was just an accident, which was really interesting. And obviously, yeah, I mean, it's and obviously, you know, it's easy. It's easy to forget how like connected all of these places really are for like a lot of Westerners. Like Kuwait is right next to Iran, right? Like,
yeah, man. Kuwait and Iran have such a deep history together. We're right next to each other. In Kuwaiti Arabic dialect, we switch the k sound with ch pretty often. That comes from the Irani side. Like the Irani all do ch sound. And there's a huge population of Iranis in Kuwait. And there's a lot of families in Kuwait are Irani descent. And then also there's the Shia connection too. The Shia religion sect of Islam, you know, that's the Iranian main one. In Kuwait, it's about 30% Shia to 70% Sunni. A lot of them, their families' roots are from the Iran side. My family's roots, my family is Shi'i as well, and the roots of them are from Iraq. So southern Iraq, especially Basra region, is pretty much all Shi'i.
Is that where the shrines are, like the shrine cities?
Yeah. Yes. My father has visited it, and my grandparents would go pretty often. The what's it called? The Hussein's burial area. Like you can go and see it and stuff. They've shown me pictures and all the stuff, which is where my name comes from. I talked about it in my Dante video. My name is AbdulHusain, which means like follower of Hussein. So any Muslim who reads my name, they're like, yeah, that guy's Shia. Like automatically.
I never knew that was the specific reason of like AbdulHusain means follower of Hussein. I didn't know that. That's really interesting. Because the reason what also made me think about that is like, you know, when we're talking about like how the Middle East is depicted as this place of like forever wars that is like mysterious and all of these things, in reality, it's just a place like any other filled with people like, you know, people who, yeah, sure, there are religious differences and tensions that relate from that at differing points. But, you know, also simultaneously, all human beings all over the world are just like individuals trying to exist and live their lives. And these interconnections exist. And we see like these inflated, mysterious others in films that just doesn't really reflect Iran or wherever, the Middle East or, you know, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, any of these places. It's just people. And yet most people's vision of this of Arabs is like, and also Iranians, is like an inflated, like evil menace, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this monolith, like everyone is the same. Chris, like if we could just take your words and put them in the ears of every person, I think we'd have a better world. Honestly, yeah. I'm so sick of stereotypes. People stereotype all the, I'm trying to break down the stereotypes, why they show up, why people think these stereotypes, and break them. You know, there's parts in, like when I'm talking about videos and movies, I'm like, I'm not going to stereotype people because of this, because we're not going to go down to the level that these directors and writers are going down to. We can be better than this.
Yeah, and it also, it's really important to keep in mind the context in which this propaganda rears its head, right? Like, given the certain situation and given like the aims of the empires in which these directors and creators create their propaganda for, it becomes a lot more nefarious. And this isn't just for the Middle East too, like the aforementioned indigenous groups of the Americas, also Africans, like specifically if you want to look at South Africa, the propaganda and the hysteria leading up to the dissolution of apartheid was constantly to create this image of the barbarous other in the indigenous black person of Africa. And they would point to like the Mau Maus, they would point to Congo. And that hysteria, that propaganda served an important goal, an important mission. It served an important goal for the white Afrikaners and for the white South Africans in general, which was to uphold apartheid. And that propaganda and that, you know, those delusions, they did a lot for that for a very long time.
Absolutely. Okay, so I just said that I really dislike stereotypes, but I feel confident in saying this stereotype. 99% of people just want to live a happy, wonderful life, okay? They want to go to school. They want to teach their kids. They want to make sure they have food on the table. They want to believe in whatever religion they want to believe, or no religion at all. They just want to have a happy life. It's the freaking governments in power who are wrecking it all for everybody all the time, you know? You're seeing this in the United States right now. That's why I love your channel so much, talking about socialism and how wonderful it is. And it's the people who realize like capitalism is screwing the entire country. Capitalism is the reason why Mr. Trump enriched himself $7 billion since he became president the second time. I can't even believe Trump is president again. You know?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Crazy.
America doesn't have health care. Like, what is going on? Like, how
And even
deeply
even on a more like zoomed out level, capitalism would be the reason for the imperialism that I would consider to be plaguing the majority of the world, really, like the expanding need for capital and moving into untapped markets and, you know, create just exporting finance capital there so that they could exploit and just extract from these groups for their benefit in perpetuity. These are issues that I consider to be downstream of capitalism. So that's why I would consider it kind of the root of these issues.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you can't have capitalism without exploitation. It's required. It's required. And the American people are just like, there are so many wonderful people who are in the past 3-4 years, and I attribute some of that success of my channel as to people are freaking waking up to this. They're realizing, hold on a minute, none of the people in power, like it's always been like this, okay, the people in power, but at least they gave people, you know, a couple chicken nuggets, you know, you have some chicken nuggets and keep them quiet. Now, the inflation exploding, hurting people. People don't have health care. People can't feed themselves. And then you hear in the news, Trump made 600 million off of his crypto. Like he just, Coffeezilla just did the video. He showed the tax or Trump like came out with it, and it literally says he made 600 million off of crypto, and it was all a rug pull. Anyways.
Yeah. And speaking about how like the Western media and consensus and hysteria kind of solidifies their, their needs, their endeavors, their, entrenchment in capitalism. A big victim of that propaganda for the longest time was the Russians, the Soviets. Like, you would have tons of media that would, I guess, do Orientalism to the Soviets as well. They would paint them as like the barbarous other, like always aggressive, always trying to launch invasions into Western Europe and the US, when at the same time, simultaneously, like intelligence documents, CIA intelligence documents, and even like just the understanding of like the presidents of the US was that, the Soviet Union is not going to fucking invade Western Europe or North America right now. Why the fuck would they do that? They just bore the brunt of the damage of the Second World War. Why would they do this now? They knew that. Like, the president was saying this while all of the media propaganda machine was, oh, these big bad Soviets, they're going to fucking invade and kill everybody. Why would they do that? They didn't want to do that.
I also think that one of my favorite readings or like essays about Orientalism. Have either of you ever seen Lost in Translation?
I haven't seen that.
So Lost in Translation was made by Sofia Coppola. It's got Bill Murray in it and, oh my God.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson, yeah. And a lot of people saw the film as Orientalist at the time because it depicts like a lot of excesses of Japan, like karaoke, the nightlife, and like what it's like. And the argument that this essay made, it's called Nothing is Lost in Translation by Todd McGowan. His whole point is that although you can make this critique of the film, what actually stands and is what is so interesting about the film is these two characters go to Japan and they don't have like an amazing adventure. They don't change. They don't find some like lost meaning or hidden thing there, which is so often what Orientalism is about, seeing the other as like this substantial with all these hidden secrets that they know the answer to. This film is literally just people who go to Japan and they're just also miserable and not complete people there. And that's not to say that like everyone's miserable, but rather to say like places like the Middle East and all of these places are just not really, of course there are cultural aspects, but they're not really that different in terms of who lives there and what they're like. That, people really want you to sit there and believe that Islam and Muslims as a whole are one unanimous blob who hate the West for no reason, whose all countries are just motivated by backwards savagery, that all these terrorists just want to harm Americans and whoever because they're just mad and because their religion is this dogmatic, unchanging thing, rather than reckoning with the fact that, like all human beings and all political realities, they're shaped by the circumstances in which they emerged. And what has the last 100 years been for the Middle East, especially from Europeans? Not very good, And so I think it's like, I've always found like with this whole, the way that people depict, Arabs, Middle Easterners as just one united, big, homogenous blob. It's just dumb. It's really just dumb and ignorant and shows no real care or desire to actually think about these places or involve people from these places who might have something more interesting to say than, pseudo history about mummies.
Dude, that's the crazy thing. They don't even involve them. Even in this day and age where we have the internet in our pockets, they don't even Google this stuff. And I'm trying to decipher is this ignorance or is this on purpose?
Yeah.
So my channel is just like, I'm trying to meet people where one of my huge interests is movies, trying to open up their mind about at least Arabs. And whenever I see stuff that's, that I can call out about Zionism, I'm going to bring it up. That's a way that I can meet people who aren't specifically looking for that political information. They're looking for the entertainment. I talk about it from a unique perspective, from an Arab's perspective. And I'm just so super lucky to have a lot of people really, it's resonating with people and it's teaching a lot of people. But the best part is, being talked about by Isaac, the overzealot Chad, socialism god, and being invited. I seriously, no, but honestly, like I'm so thankful and appreciative that you asked me to come.
Bro, of course.
Even talk to you guys.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, dude, of course.
It was a wonderful episode, and we always... Sorry, Isaac.
Yeah, no, I was probably going to say the exact same thing. I think like what you do is really important work because it is really frustrating, even as someone who's not Arab, but just seeing that there seems to be like this one group of people in the West where, yeah, you can actually just make fun of them. You can make whole movies making fun of them, stereotyping them, manufacturing
You
the
can
consent
have
for your...
brown face.
You can
In
do
the
all,
Zohan
like-
video, I'm talking about black face, not okay. 50s,
Yeah.
60s, they cut that out. Brown face, okay. Shit on.
Yeah,
What is
and
this?
You know, like I would like to consider myself receptive to the plights of people dynamically, seeing like, okay, certain groups of people right now are discriminated against and it's actually institutionally acceptable to do so. And I think, well, at least for myself, like I'd like to fancy myself receptive to that and think, okay, we'll take it one thing at a time. But with Arabs and Muslims in general, at this point in history, it's not only acceptable to act inappropriately towards them, make fun of them, make them the butt of the joke, but it's highly incentivized, especially in Hollywood, and it's profitable. It's a profitable industry.
Yep.
This is not like, I don't say this like I'm, you know, mad that you can't do this about, say, Jewish people. I'm happy that it's unacceptable to do that towards any other group of people. That's like what I would like to see for everyone. But it just doesn't make any sense. Well, it does make perfect sense, but it's just strange that more people aren't outraged at the fact that you can still do this to Arabs today and still have a career in Hollywood, have a career as a politician, whereas you couldn't do that about other groups and see similar levels of success, which is a good thing. You should not be able to do that.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I'm just so happy the past really 3-4 years, people are waking up. You know, it used to be when you talk about these things in Hollywood, you'd be ostracized. Like you wouldn't have a career anymore. But now we're actually having courageous actors like Javier Bardem. He's like,
legend.
Well, I'm not doing
legend.
this. What absolute amazing individual. And others too are joining in because they're realizing like, talking about the phone again, you can't get away from the truth anymore. It's just it's right in the faces of people. It's everywhere. You can't just be making up. You can't be denying genocide. You can't be denying ethnic cleansing anymore. It's just not gonna work. And it's through fearless actors and creators like you guys, and hopefully I'm helping out with that a little bit too. Just in the education, open up your minds. Like, hey, look, Arabs are wonderful, but you have no idea who Arabs really are. They're super generous, super hospitable, super wonderful. They'll literally hound you to get you to come over, have tea, have chai halib, tea with milk. If you just look at something in the house that you like, oh, that's nice, they'll give it to you for free. Like, guys, you don't even know the depths of Arab hospitality.
Oh, dude.
And I encourage...
A lot of my friends, actually all of my friends are Muslim or Arab, so I do know. But even if that wasn't the case, I would still make the arguments I make, because like, even if Arabs in general were kind of like dicks or whatever, I would still think it's fucked up. I would still think it's fucked up to treat them the way that Hollywood and the political zeitgeist treats them.
And by the way, I'm going to extend that same exact hospitality. If you guys ever want to, I live in Atlanta right now. If you guys ever want to come to Atlanta. All you have to do is pay for the plane ticket. You're not going to pay for anything else. I'm going to show you the whole city. Dude, I'm going to take you to the best places to eat. I'm going to take you like rap, Isaac? Where did trap music start? I'll take you to the trap museum where you can meet the trap grandma. What? Have you heard of the trap grandma?
No, trap grandma.
There's a trap grandma. She'll give you the whole at the trap museum. She'll give you the whole history about trap music.
I spent this summer in Atlanta because I was my manager, my music manager used to live in Nashville, and we had like friends and people that we used to make music with up in Atlanta, so we would drive up. So I've been to Atlanta quite a few times. I've spent some time there. It's cool.
Okay.
I really like it. I stayed in actually Decatur in Georgia. That's where I crashed. Yeah.
A little up north, east, OTP, outside the perimeter. But that's my extension of my Arab hospitality. Like, that's what I want to teach the people. That's what I'm showing. Okay, it's like the surface level stuff is like pointing out the inaccuracies, which nobody is going to notice, like how to wear the shamach properly. This is the greatest mystery to American filmmakers, the Gaffiya. the little skull cap that goes between the shmagh and the agal. No one puts that in there. No, I'm still looking. I want to find a movie that actually has the gafia, because they have the agal. They think that the agal is like holding it down, like over their forehead. It's holding it down, but it's on the top, right? Dude, this is the surface level stuff. But I'm trying to show to the world, hey, us Arabs are cool. Us Arabs are hospitable and amazing and welcoming and loving and incredible. And there are those Arabs, Gulf Arabs like Emiratis that are like super rich and show their wealth and all that kind of stuff. For the longest time, when I was younger, I was like, why isn't Kuwait doing that? Why aren't we bringing the tourists? Now it's a blessing. Like Kuwait has held on. We're such a tiny country, okay? We're like the size of Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania, or even a little smaller. But we have held on to our culture and our family, and nobody hears about us. There's maybe less than a million, maybe 1.5 million Kuwaitis in the world, but we're the kindest people. We try to be wonderful. We try to amaze it. We're all about the family life. You can come to the Zwara, like you can come to Kuwait and you come to the Zwara, the weekly family gathering. Isaac and Chris, you can come eat meals with us. You'll be like family.
We got to change the saying. No more come to Dubai. Come to Kuwait. That's what we need. No more. Don't give any more money to that are going to find their ways over to the RSF in the form of weapons. So you visit Kuwait instead. Yeah.
Qatar took a lot of the spotlight because of the World Cup, but Kuwait is an awesome place. Arabs are amazing people. 99% of people are wonderful. It's just that 1% that drowns those governments, the 1%, the loud, angry people that drown us out, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we better close up because I need to run off this evening. So I guess what I'll say is, first of all, thank you so much for coming on. And I guess people have already got like a pretty clear picture of what it is that you do, but where can people find you?
Yousef AbdulHusain, at Yousef AbdulHusain on YouTube. I am only on YouTube. No social media, no nothing. I know that Isaac, I'm going to say, this guy, he slid into my DMs.
I slid into his DMs.
Yeah,
I did. I found him.
Like, woo!
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm on
Instagram.
But I am only on YouTube. I'm all about, I frame it as exploring Arab representation. It's just looking at movies, entertainment side, just pointing things out that is like people don't notice it. If you're a Westerner, even if you're Arab, I'm getting a lot of Arab people coming in. It's just, I'm trying to educate the world, trying to make it better. People understand better through the medium of entertainment. And the thanks is all mine to you guys again. Thank you so much for inviting me to this. I've had a blast. Please, can we be friends? I want to be friends with you guys.
Of course,
You've talked to some, I don't even know why you're talking to me. I've seen you guys talk to Noah. I've seen you guys talk to Hassan, right? I've seen you talk to so many people.
Because you do great work. That's why.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. And yeah.
I would love to talk to Hassan one day. But hopefully the number one guest, can I request a guest for your next show?
Mm-hmm.
I would really love for you guys to have Ethan Klein on your show.
We'll see. We'll try our best.
We would actually also like that, but he tends to be a massive pussy, so I don't think he would. But yeah, we would also like that, funnily enough.
Or Destiny. We talked a little bit about Destiny. I would love to see Destiny on your show.
Yeah.
But again, thank you guys so much. I had a blast. Let's be friends. Maybe do this again.
Yeah.
Do something in the future together. I'll be open to it. I really appreciate you guys. Really.
Next time, what we should do is we should pick a film or a TV show to all pre-watch and share our feelings about. I feel like that would be great.
That'd be great.
Sounds fun.
But yeah, thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you to our supporters over on Patreon, with a special vocalized thanks to our top tier patrons: Izzy, the Wallace 3000, Megan Ratana, Storm's Daughter, Clara Mayella, Cedar Down Under, Riker G, Jamo, Space, Soph, and Demon Lemon.